Jackson. Follow King Jewelers Jackson on social media for special savings.
News Talk 96.5 FM weather presented by Dustin Ring. Dustin buys houses fast for cash. Call Dustin now, 731-200-1362. Monday brings abundant sunshine with highs near 70. Winds south, 5 to 10. Clear skies tonight, lows in the mid-40s. Dustin Ring, Dustin buys houses fast for cash. Call Dustin now, 731-200-1362. DustinBuys.com.
Get all the latest news, talk, weather, and sports. NewsTalkWTN.com and 96.5 FM.
Well, I was rolling down the road in some cold blue steel. I had a blues man on the back and a beautician out the wheel. We're going downtown in the middle of the night. We're laughing and I'm joking and we're feeling alright. Oh, I'm back. I'm nationwide. Yes, I'm back. Easing down the highway in a new Cadillac. I had a fine fox in front, I had three more in the back. They sporting short dresses, wearing spike heel shoes. They smoking Lucky Strikes and wearing nylon shoes. Go keep back, we're nationwide. Yeah, we back. Nationwide.
Good Monday afternoon, and welcome to the program. My name's Dan Reeves, along with Dr. Mark Fowler. How you doing, Doc?
I'm great, Dan. How are you?
Good to see you, sir, on a Monday. Hope you had a great Easter weekend.
I did. Did you?
I did. Thank you for asking. And Larry Newman is here. Hello, Newman.
Hello, Reeves.
Did you have a good Easter weekend, Newman?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm detecting something. I don't know if it's attitude or was it a good weekend, Larry?
Yeah.
It was a good weekend.
Exactly.
Awesome. That's great. Did Easter Bunny bring you anything?
Eggs?
Like some hard-boiled eggs, chocolate eggs?
No, they were ready to fry.
Ready to fry eggs. Well, it wasn't a good weekend for Karen. She insulted a guy who located her purse.
I'm just trying to tell you that
I told you I don't have
your
any change.
purse is on top of your car.
Mind your own business.
There's gratitude for you.
Yeah, she'd gone so far she just could not really back in.
And I can't get up.
People are angry these days, aren't they? They're shooting in Louisville today. We got the details on that, and there's some activity in Nashville. We'll cover that as well. What a gorgeous weather day it is, huh? It is sunny and 71 degrees. Feels like it's 73 degrees. We'll drop down to 40 overnight, but this is just, they call it Chamber of Commerce weather. It's what it's like living in San Diego.
Yeah.
But minus the Pacific Ocean and the mountains. But in Tijuana, going to Tijuana if you live in San Diego is like going to Chester County. Well, I mean, it's the distance, the drive. Nothing like, they're not this. I wasn't comparing Henderson and Tijuana. You with me, Doc?
Yeah.
It's, totally different towns.
Yep.
Yeah, you've ever been to Tijuana?
Never have. I've been to Henderson, though.
Have you ever been to Spain? Larry, you been to Tijuana?
No.
How about Henderson?
Henderson, yeah. I've been there.
Then Henderson, okay. Well, it's sort of the same thing. Pardon me. It's not the drive, the distance, I'm trying to say.
Who would be so cruel?
I'm not comparing those two towns. I'm not. The phone lines are open. You can call us at 731-265-6496, 731-265-6496. The phone line sponsored by CWA Development. They specialize in restoration and renovation, commercial and residential. CWA Development, fire and water restoration. They do it all at CWA Restoration, right here in Jackson, 80 years experience. The phone number to get in on the program, 731-265-6496. You can text the show. The Advanced Rehab and Medical text line is 731-800. Text 731-800-8398. AdvancedRehabJackson.com. Dr. Shannon Bone. Visit AdvancedRehabJackson.com and you can take the first step in your path to getting back to quality of life. Dr. Bone is ranked in the top 10 for chiropractors on planet Earth. That's how good he is. Well, okay, this weekend, we got NBA playoffs to start this week. We got every single Memphis Grizzly playoff game. Go, Grizz! We don't know they're going to play just yet. The play-in games, I think, are tomorrow. So we'll have all the Memphis Grizzlies playoffs for you. We're going to be out and about with this program Wednesday and Thursday this week. Wednesday, we'll be out at the fairgrounds with United Way. And I've got details on that, what that's all about. And then Thursday, we'll be out at Meridian Baptist Church in Bemis. Roger Clemens. We'll see him Thursday.
That's right.
He'll be there, and we hope to have him on the air for a bit. That event starts at 6. Roger Clemens, they're still, I think they've added a table and maybe some chair. Actually, it's all sold out. What am I talking about? You want to get on the waiting list, Doc, that number right there, they've got a waiting list now. If you want to get on it, call 731-217-7187. We tried to tell you this was going to sell out to get in early, and we hope you did. 731-217-7187. Doc, what's on your radar today?
Well, unfortunate situation in Louisville, Kentucky. 9 people were injured. 4 people were killed. 2 police officers were shot. 1 shot in the head, a rookie who was one of the first responders, and he's still in the hospital after undergoing surgery. Not going to mention the shooter's name. He was a 23-year-old employee of the bank, and you know how things are. It's kind of sketchy, but it appears he was an employee and had recently been fired. His profile, according to various news sources, indicated he was a successful young man, athlete in high school, very popular, well-liked. He had a degree in finance from the University of Alabama, but apparently had a breakdown. Among other things, he live-streamed the shooting in Louisville.
4 had 8 hospitalized.
Yeah.
Jeez. Yeah.
Louisville chief of police indicates the police responded within 3 minutes, engaged the shooter, and apparently terminated the episode relatively quickly with only that few people killed. Always a tragedy. This constitutes, I think, the 15th or 16th mass shooting event this year, with a total of 200 killed in mass shootings in 2023.
And
another sad day.
Yeah, we just entered. Well, we just entered April, so Lordy, yeah, he was ex-employee of the bank. You mentioned that. 23 years of age. I mean, how bad could it be? It makes me think mental illness here. How could it be that bad at 23? Right.
That's hard to say.
Unless you've got mental illness, personality disorder, that sort of a thing. 5 people, including the gunman, who they say shockingly live streamed the attack, have been named as those killed in a shooting at the Old National Bank in Louisville, Kentucky. And this story is says an evil gunman armed with an AR-15 who opened fire in a Louisville bank earlier today. 23 years old, and the shooter again live streamed this massacre on Instagram. Police confirmed that 5 people killed, including the shooter, 9 taken to the hospital for treatment. The 4 deceased victims, 40-year-old, 63-year-old, a 45-year-old, and a 64-year-old. Louisville Metropolitan Police Department identified the suspect as Connor Sturgeon. He's 23 years of age, bank employee, Old National Bank. He was full-time in 2021 after 3 consecutive summer internships. So, yeah, looks like just a kind of an all-American kid look to him. And you mentioned earlier the guy didn't look like who you would think would be a mass shooter, but it's really no, there's nothing to these days to when you look at a guy, they don't really stand out.
No, he just snapped after being fired, apparently, because there's always conflicting news reports on this, but that is apparently what happened, and he couldn't handle it. And that's a shame.
So here we go again. It's just one after the other, and it seems like these days. Larry, what's your thoughts here?
Just tragic. I just wasn't there a guard, somebody in the bank? Usually there's
I'm sure there would be
there, but
I mean,
the police got there as quickly as they could, but it's just hard to. Banks are really so busy; they're just constantly in and out for somebody to walk in. And
this started at 8:30 in the morning, presumably just before the bank opened. But now, how he walked in with a long gun without being detected is a bit of a mystery.
Yeah.
But so there's that.
Well, see, that's what you can carry those things. You'll be able to carry those in Tennessee.
Yeah.
And so
Which
what
is
do you
not
do?
a good idea.
No,
that's not a good idea at all.
It's what do you say to Doc, the like the Tennessee Firearms Association? We're efforting to get them on the program as soon as we can. They were supposed to be on last week. They're rescheduling, don't have a date. But what do you say to the Tennessee, to the TFA, and also the NRA when they say, yeah, hey, look, it's in our Constitution, we should be able to walk around with long rifles?
It makes me, I have a concealed weapons permit and I carry it concealed. And it always makes me nervous to go into Walmart to see somebody who's obviously not law enforcement carrying openly. And then to walk around in Walmart and see somebody carrying a long gun is even worse, because you never know when that guy's going to go around the bend and he's going to start shooting. So carrying a handgun is fine with me. And as strong as the Second Amendment supporter as I am, this is out of control.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on it, Doctor. Same here. I do concealed as well, and that's to our benefit, because if we were open carrying, and because you and I, we could be over at Walmart, as you were saying, just shopping, thinking about, well, okay, do I want seedless grapes or the grapes with seeds? We're trying to make that choice, and there's a guy in there thinking about robbing the place, and he sees us with a gun. We may be the first he takes out.
Yeah, that's right.
And people, and so many, you don't have to have any type of training these days in Tennessee to be able to carry. And I know we've all watched Dirty Harry. It's not that way in real life.
No.
When bullets start flying, when lead starts flying, you may have a gun on you and never even go for it. So this is, it's pretty silly, I think. I just don't, we're not making any ground to do anything other than just fight
create
about
more
it.
problems.
Yeah. So what's the answer here, boys?
First of all, I would respectfully disagree with anybody who contends that you should be able to carry a long gun around for self-defense. A handgun, sure, concealed, better. I think you ought to have some training. I think that the guys who train the concealed carry people ought to have the discretion to report to withhold the certificate and call the TBI or whomever and say, this lady is not quite right as far as I'm concerned. I'm not issuing the certificate. That may help some. But again, I don't think most of the people who do these mass shootings are necessarily concealed weapons holders, permit holders, nor do I think they're Second Amendment. They're just lunatics, and they're evil lunatics.
But they're able to buy guns legally.
Yeah.
That's the problem. It's obviously he wasn't concerned with breaking a law today. But I wonder, I've talked with law enforcement off the air they're very concerned with this. Think about how how difficult their job is already. Now, if you're able to walk around with long guns, they see a guy walking with a long gun. I mean, what would you think?
Yeah.
This is the United States of America. That's something we're not accustomed to. And with all the shootings we're having today, that's the first thing, I mean, naturally, that you're going to think. I mean, if you see a guy walking towards you, if you're walking down the sidewalk and a guy's walking in your direction, are you going to stay on that sidewalk or are you going to cross the street? I'm going to cross the street.
If I see somebody with a long gun wandering around, I'm headed the other direction as long as my loved ones are not in the Walmart or wherever this guy is.
Right.
That's a great mistake.
I got some fans coming in here.
Oh, yeah.
That's my mom.
Do you think we'll be mobbed?
Well, if we're lucky. It's so jump in here with us, folks. What's the solution here? What's the solution to this?
That's a tough one. I don't know. When people are committed to committing evil, they're going to commit evil. And I don't know. I don't know when this kid bought this gun. I don't know whether he bought it within the last week or 8 months ago. I don't know what made him snap.
Or if he took it from his father.
Or if he took it from his father. Yeah. So I don't know.
Any number of things.
Well, see, but he easily could have bought it himself.
Yeah.
You know, that hasn't been mentioned.
But see, again, he got into the bank without anybody stopping him or alerting the police until he started shooting, insofar as we know. So forbidding the carrying of long guns would be a reasonable start.
Well, maybe that's why they fired him, because he brought that gun to work every day.
I doubt that. But
yeah. Well, I'm just saying.
Yeah, you don't know.
Well, I guess it could be. It wouldn't be. I don't know. I wouldn't think it'd be a great idea. But I mean, what if I came in here with AR-15 every day, or if I wanted to make a sales call?
Yeah, that would be a little disconcerting. I think.
You don't mind if I sit this on the desk, do you, for a minute? And I'm going to need you to sign right here. And I'm gonna. You know what? That may not be a bad idea.
Yeah, that might push the sale over the edge. I don't know.
There was a bank a few years ago that had a contest, and the winner won an AR-15.
Yeah,
and they kind of made national headlines with that. But I don't know. Look. I don't know if I can say I enjoy guns. I don't. I used to say I spooned with my gun, and I named it, and I watched TV with it. When it snows, I use it to clear the sidewalk. Things like that, but I don't think I can even say that anymore in good taste, because you think it's that we have an unhealthy love with guns in America?
Well,
Doc, what do you think it is?
Let's take a couple of steps backwards.
I include me in this as
generally
well.
Speaking, there are more people killed with knives, hatchets, handguns than AR-15s.
But with guns in general?
Yeah, there are more people
with
killed
hatchets.
Hatchets, knives, throwing them off
in
the
America.
balcony. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to look that up. Not that you're inaccurate, but I'd be shocked at that.
Yeah. So you have that. You have this fascination with guns. You have all of these video games that glorify shooting people and blowing them up and shooting their heads off and stuff like that, and that does not help. You have, by the time a kid is grown, he's been exposed to thousands of TV or movie representations of gun deaths. So all of that plays a role. And then you have the atomization of society so that people do not feel connected to each other. That doesn't help. And then you have people who seem to think that they should take other people with them when they kill themselves. So it's a matter. It's just a complicated matter. Would confiscating guns be the solution? I don't know, but you're going to have an awful time trying to take people's guns away from them. All right, what do you got? Did you fact check me?
It's I'm gonna look at I'm gonna read this over, but I just don't see any way possible. There are more people killed with hatchets each year than guns.
Well, not necessarily hatchets, but knives and fists and clubs and those kinds of things.
More than guns?
I would think so. I think that.
I would be absolutely, because I had a guy calling here and said, Richard Archie said that on the air, there are more people killed with hammers each year than guns in America. And I had to look it up, and that's not true. With hammers, boy, it's, gun deaths among U.S. children and teens have risen 50% in 2 years. We're going to get to that story. And we'll tell you what to do when negotiating starting salaries. But staying with guns for a moment, what share of U.S. gun deaths are murders and what share are suicides? And though they tend to get less public attention than gun-related murders, suicides have long accounted for the majority of U.S. gun deaths. In 2020, 54% of all gun-related deaths in the U.S. were suicides, 24,292, while 43% were murders, right at 20,000, according to CDC. The remaining gun deaths that year were accidents, unintentional, 535. In the ones that involved law enforcement, 611, or had undermined circumstances, 400 was the number there. So we'll get to this when we return here on the program. It is 72 degrees. It's 3:28 in the afternoon. It's Monday. It's April the 10th, 2023. And we've got a busy week to tell you about when we return here on the program from the Gene Langley Ford Studio in Jackson, Tennessee. Gene Langley Ford, the dealership, is at 3500 Easton Drive in Humboldt, and now they're offering concierge service when it comes to their service department. Within a 15-mile radius, if you need oil change, if you need some service work done, Gene Langley Ford will come to your home or come to your office, pick up your vehicle, take it in, service that vehicle, then deliver it right back to you, all fresh and shiny and serviced just like that. It's concierge service from the Gene Langley Ford Service Department. That dealership was built on service, and they continue to innovate and stay out in front. GeneLangleyFord.com. You can shop online 24/7 right there, even secure financing. And set your service visits at GeneLangleyFord.com. 329 and 72 degrees. On a Monday, it is glorious outside.
The Southside Hawks play here. 96.5 FM, News Talk West Tennessee. NewsTalkWTN.com.
When the game goes into overtime. But the game goes into overtime. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Pick up Bud Light at your local convenience store today. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Central Distributors, Jackson.
We found Jackson's perfect lunch spot, Bourbon and Barley's. You can enjoy a delicious sit-down lunch at drive-through prices. Bourbon and Barley's lunch menu is available weekdays 11 a.m. all the way to 4 p.m. Have a late lunch or an early dinner at lunch prices. Bourbon and Barley's amazing lunch menu options include delicious crab and lobster bruschetta, Cobb salads, one-topping pizzas, and their featured slider of the day. All for just $10 across the street from Starbucks. Bourbon and Barley's, where Jackson loves to lunch.
Looking to add a little spice to your love life?
Nothing adds spice like gunpowder.
Jackson's only indoor shooting range, date night at the range. Here's what you lovebirds get: a shooting lane for two targets, 100 rounds of ammo, eye and ear protection, and a $30 gift certificate to Texas Roadhouse. All for just $99.99.
Now that's firepower.
Perfect for a gift card from the range. The Range, 2310 North Highland Avenue in Jackson.
Go to therange.com.
Are you looking to move up in your career, change career paths, or maybe even thinking about finishing that degree you started? Jackson State Community College is here to help you greenlight your career. If you're 23 and older, you may qualify to go to college tuition-free through Tennessee Reconnect. Yes, you heard that right, tuition-free at Jackson State. Whether you're earning your degree for the first time to advance your career or finishing a degree you already started, Jackson State Community College is here to greenlight your career. It's time to take the next step in earning your degree. Learn how at jscc.edu/reconnect.
Hi, my name's name's Dawn. I have been taking BioT at Advanced Medical. My moods are better. I sleep well. My husband has complimented me on the mood swings that are no longer affecting our marriage.
Are these problems affecting your work, your relationships, and your quality of life? You'll be happy to know there's an exciting, natural solution available called BioT. BioT uses a natural way for men and women to correct these problems by safely and accurately balancing hormone levels without the use of synthetic injections or cream.
I got blood work done, and they identified what hormones were out of balance. They gave me the bioidentical hormone pellets through BioT, and now I have more energy, no more brain fog, I'm sleeping better, and I feel like my old self again. I would recommend Advanced Rehab and Medical and their BioT program to anyone suffering with symptoms like mine. It's been life-changing.
To book your appointment, call 731-462-8580. That's 731-462-8580.
The Tennessee Volunteers play here. 96.5 FM, News Talk West Tennessee, newstalkwtn.com.
Don't you stole my phone. You stole my phone? I'm allowed to record. Give me my phone. Okay, I'll get up. Stop. Get up. Let's go. With your bag. I'm fine. Stop. I'm fine. Stop. Get up, Black. Stop. Too late now. It's not too late now.
That's a passenger who was forcibly removed from his flight after being asked repeatedly by the crew to exit. And repeatedly he said, I don't think so. And apparently the man requested a pre-flight cocktail but was denied, and he melted down. And then he started crying. He was tossed off an American Airlines flight. Jeez.
Barbaric.
It is barbaric. Doc, please listen. I did have a psychiatrist. I know you're a medical doctor, but what's going on out there, do you think?
I'll tell you what's going on.
You're not on edge, are you?
No, but you know what's happened?
You're always count on you to be the adult in the room.
We have lost or abandoned our bourgeois values. And by that I mean the mindset that extends courtesy and decency to other people, that says that I am not the center of the universe, and that in any dispute or disagreement I should be kind and courteous and give way to the extent that I can without sacrificing my own ego. And people have their own ego everywhere. It's on their sleeve.
That's true.
And if they get insulted, they go berserk.
Yeah, I think you're right about that, Doc. It's Leigh, what do you make of it? You spend a lot of time as a teacher in public. I guess would you do your entire time as a teacher in public school system?
Yeah, a lot of that is bullying. In schools, that you have to watch for the signs of that. There was a saying about 20 years ago. It's all about me.
Right.
That's the one that came out. And I know people, that was their mantra. It was like, what in the world? It's all about me.
Yeah.
Nothing, and you see that with the Kardashians and all of these people that everybody wants to emulate. People are they're gone nuts.
They have.
They really have.
Well, and if they don't, concomitantly, church attendance is down. A civic feeling is down. People who are proud of the United States, that's down. And we have become a consumeristic, self-centered, narcissistic society.
Yeah, that's true. And the good news, well, it's not good news, but that there's an army of narcissists headed this way, being raised by parents. They say that the trophy generation has burned some of it. Other is watching the parents again yell at the TV. As Tucker Carlson lights their backside on fire, and others in the model of Facebook is keep people angry. That keeps them on Facebook. It's
and we see it everywhere. You see it in people getting thrown off airplanes. You see parents fighting with coaches and umpires.
That's true.
Games. Yeah. You see kids fighting and bullying each other, and it's just we've lost our way. That's what it is. We've lost our way.
Well, it's apparently the case. Let's go to the phone lines. People are standing by. You can join us here. What do you think it is, folks? Why do you think we're so mad, so angry in America today? But if you can put your finger on it, what do you think it is? 731-265-6496 to the phone lines, and you will lead us off this segment live on News Talk 96.5. You're on the air. Go.
Hey, Dan. Good morning or good afternoon.
Good afternoon. What do you think we're so angry today?
I don't understand. I've got a different feeling in my heart today, but that's a personal thing. Let's go to what you're talking about, man. The Exodus. Do you think we're ready for Jubilee?
The gospel singing Jubilee on Sunday mornings?
Like debt forgiveness worldwide? Like we just unity. Man.
No, I don't think the banks would sign up for that. No, I don't think they would.
They've been foreclosed upon. They're in foreclosure right now. As I speak these words, they are in foreclosure.
Well, yeah, but they're playing big bank take little bank, and if somebody picks up the debt, they're going to collect it. They're not just going to say, "Hey, Josh."
What's wrong with society, man? You're speaking these things like. What's wrong with the behavior of people? And let's go to what Mark Fowler was speaking about the other day: institutional racism and all this structural violence. It's a beast, and I'm challenging the beast right now. If you've got anything to rebut this, that you're not a fraudulent system, then bring it forth.
Doc, but do you know what he's talking about? He said you were saying the other day.
Well, one of the things we were talking about the other day is that what colleges are doing with diversity, equity, and inclusion, and basically drawing a circle that keeps their side in and excludes white men. White men are just anathema these days, and we see that. We see this little swimmer in Kentucky. What's her name?
The little 12-year-old.
Was her name Gaines? I think. Yeah. And she gave a speech at San Francisco State University, and she was mobbed, and she was held hostage in a room for 3 hours. Nobody used to behave that way years ago. Even student demonstrators would sit peacefully in the chancellor's office.
She was. Tell us the details on that. But the 12-year-old.
Yeah, the 12-year-old.
Yeah, but she was mobbed by who? What kind of?
This
she
was
given
the
a
swimmer
speech?
from the University of Kentucky.
Okay.
And she lost 5th place or tied for 5th place with Leah Thomas. And she has been on a national speaking tour since then. So she spoke at San Francisco State University.
She was 12 years old?
No.
Who was the 12-year-old? I thought you said a 12-year-old.
She's from Louisville. That little transgender boy that they're letting him swim.
He's 12. Who was the 12-year-old? The transgender?
I don't know. You lost me.
I thought somebody said 12-year-old. Maybe it didn't.
Riley Gaines was ambushed and physically hit after saving women's sports speech. Riley Gaines, as I said, competed against Leah Thomas, and the people at San Francisco State just went nuts. They literally mobbed her. She was barricaded in a room at the university for approximately 3 hours.
Well, why were they mad at her?
Because she simply said to allow transgenders to compete in women's sports is not a good idea. And they just went berserk. Right? I mean, this is a university. You would think they could sit and listen respectfully and then stand and ask questions or make comments to rebut her speech. But no, they physically attacked her. I've seen some of the video, and it's hard to believe that people act that way.
I don't get it. And I tell you, there should be a transgender league. Is what they ought to do.
Well,
if you want to compete, because it's not there. Males obviously have physical advantages over females.
Right.
And what if LeBron James felt like wearing a dress and decided to play WNBA?
That's right. They would just dominate the
floor. We got to get real here. Give me a stinking break. And so I'm all for people having equal rights, but let's get real here. And then to hold this girl hostage. Yeah, that's not exactly a shining example of a liberal safe haven there in San Francisco. No, it's not. Josh, what do you say?
I'm just wondering. I'm wondering how they figure male or female. Does she lay eggs?
Well, the Easter Bunny lays eggs. It's only the
females.
It's the only guy I know that can lay eggs.
Females lay eggs, and females have this menstruation cycle. That's what makes you female.
Well,
if you don't do that, you're not a.
Did you?
Sorry, you can.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you on that. I'm all for having a transgender league.
Yeah, bro. I mean, that makes sense. But we were talking about the degradation of society, and this is all connected to structural violence, the root of all of it, which is a big fraud. Everybody just needs to wake up and say, hey, you know what? We actually are the same. The only difference between any one of us is how badly we want it.
All right, Josh, thank you very much.
How about that?
How about that? Yeah. It seems violent, doesn't it, Doc? Larry, just very violent. The worst thing could happen to you in our days, you might get in a fist fight at school, and don't come at us and tell us that, these kids today, it's with their, they pick on one another. Pecking order's been going on since we've been walking Earth in school.
Yeah.
It has.
Yeah. And it's sad, and children can be cruel to each other, and that's sad, too. But they've taken it too far, I guess. I don't know. And my dad, when I was in school, I was bullied a little bit, and he said, you have to solve this problem yourself. And after you bloody a nose a time or two, that puts an end to it. And you just go on for there. And that was it. And we were friends thereafter. And now people go berserk. We ought to be able to learn to live together. And as I've said on this show many times, nobody wants transgenders to be picked on, abused, mistreated, treated with anything other than dignity, but that status does not give them a trump card to do things that defy common sense.
And defying common sense is like them compete in a league, a female league. It just doesn't it. I don't understand the aggression out there. I really don't. It just.
How big a feller are you?
Well, it's the way it is, right? Hey, we got a launch party coming up on April the 21st. You getting excited about that, Doc?
I'm excited about it, yeah.
Larry, you excited?
Oh, yeah.
Yay. Well, it's coming up on, did I say April 21st? Is the Chamber of Commerce will be here. It's ribbon cutting day. The Redcoats will be here. And the live band is, I think, a 3-time award-winning band out of the state of Alabama. They come in with a lot of, they've already had we've had some groupies already come up here.
Got 3 up here right now.
Well, there's one up here at the front desk.
And the other 3 are sitting in the waiting room.
I've heard she sleeps with the drummer. That's just what I heard. I don't know. But we've got, when you come by, bring your business card, and we're going to give away free advertising for your business just for attending. You can register your business at the registration booth. Budweiser will be here, the Budweiser tents, and all that go along with that. We cannot get confirmation at all on the Clydesdales, but the way things go today, as long as I say we can't get confirmation on the Clydesdales, that keeps hitting them right there. Maybe they'll be here. I don't. They're not scheduled to be. Maybe they'll just walk up. I don't know. But if we can, Larry, you got a pony. You bring your pony. Larry, bring his pony. 2152 North Highland Avenue. That's our location for News Talk World headquarters. You're invited. The Blacksmith Restaurant will be here with food. And we're going to have some more restaurants. Maybe we can get a list of restaurants that will be here where you can have some great food. And Budweiser will be here with some great drinks. And Larry, we don't make a Bud Light, whatever it is you like, Mick Ultra, all that good stuff we'll have here.
And Coke.
Hey, will you work with me half a second? I don't think Coke's running advertisement right now. Geez, if he were to suffer a concussion here on the air, could we drag him over here and watch how you would treat that in front of the camera?
Yeah, sure.
Yes. So that's all on April the 21st right here in News Talk World headquarters. And when we do return, we'll get more into it. And Doc, you've got the numbers up, and Doc will break it down on how many long guns have killed Americans. on average, I guess. But he's got a pie chart that we'll share with you when we come back here on the program. It is 3:47, and it's 72 degrees in Midtown, J-Town. And there's Melissa right now. We don't know if it's true or not, but Larry said he found out on Curvy Girl that she may be sleeping with a drummer of that award-winning band from Alabama. I don't know if that's true. Do you know if that's true, Larry?
Yeah, I told you it was.
Yeah, I know you.
Hey, listen, man.
Yeah.
When you talk, you're full of bull.
I know you told me it was, but you've told me things like this before. And I'm not saying this is inaccurate. But we'll be right back here on the program. That's on April the 21st. Our launch parties. We launch. By the way, the construction phase is underway. So we're rounding into the final stages for the tower move. We're coming home to Madison County. At Parker's Crossroads in Lexington, you're still going to be right in the heart of our coverage area. We're just waving bye-bye to the folks across the Tennessee River. It's a win-win. It's 3:48 and it's 72 degrees. It's Monday. It's April the 10th, 2023.
My name is Steven and I'm 41 years old. I started having problems with my weight, my focus, my energy all around. I spent thousands of dollars a year on supplements trying to get my weight down, and it never worked.
Are these problems affecting your work, your relationships, and your quality of life? You'll be happy to know there is an exciting, natural solution available called BioT. BioT uses a natural way for men and women to correct these problems by safely and accurately balancing hormone levels without the use of synthetic injections or creams.
I got the treatment, and it has been the best decision of my life. I feel great. I'm losing weight. I have more energy. I'm getting stronger in the gym, and I can focus so much better. And I notice that I also sleep better, and I'm always in a good mood. And I believe it's all because of the BioT treatment.
To schedule an appointment to find out if BioTE is right for you, call 731-462-3596. That's 731-462-3596.
Not too expensive, nothing too fancy, just an authentic Italian family recipe served up piping hot, just like a pizza pie should be. Locally owned and operated Carico's Pizza, home of the $8 lunch special. 2 slices and a drink for just $8. Buy the slice or the 28-inch monster, perfect for the ball game. Carico's Pizza, 1370 Union University Drive. For catering, call 731-240-1033. For the full menu, visit caricospizza.com.
King Jewelers is not your typical jewelry store. It's an iconic symbol of love. Custom-made jewelry to suit the most discriminating taste. Or you can redesign an old piece that's just sitting in a jewelry box. Create something completely new and unique. Grover has over 40 years experience as a certified jeweler. Visit KingJewelerJackson.com. King Jewelers at 16B Conrad Drive, Jackson. Follow King Jewelers Jackson on social media for special savings.
When you need a heart expert, you need an expert with heart. Corbin Cardiology is dedicated to providing the highest quality cardiovascular care in West Tennessee. At Corbin Cardiology, our patient-centered approach, along with a full array of diagnostic imaging services, sets us apart from other cardiovascular clinics. Corbin Cardiology has clinics in Bartlett, Dyersburg, Lexington, and the newest location is now open in Jackson at 58 Murray Guard Drive. To schedule an appointment in office or by telemedicine, visit CorbinCardiology.com
or call 731-513-5701.
Hey y'all, this is Mary at Mulligan's. Come see us soon before the new wears off. Hard to believe, but we're coming upon an anniversary in our locally family-owned business at Union University Drive. We still have our daily lunch specials, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., which will remind you of Grandma's cooking, or try our Irish dishes, fish and chips, Reuben's and shepherd's pie, or everyone's favorite, the Mully Burger. And how about brunch on Saturdays and Sundays? Yep, every weekend, serving Jackson for over 25 years. See you soon at Mulligan's.
This is WBFG 96.5 FM, 96.5 FM, Parker's Crossroads, Jackson.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. 4 people killed, 9 others hospitalized at a shooting at a bank building in downtown Louisville. The suspected shooter also dead, a 23-year-old male who was an employee of the bank. Police answered that shooting call in 3 minutes. Dr. Jason Smith, Louisville Chief Medical Officer, had nothing but praise for the officers.
I want to say thank you to our police officers and our EMS services. I have no doubt in my mind that they saved lives today. I think they, as
give it a clip there and a little taste of what's coming up top of the hour. We'll have more information on the shooting today in Louisville with our top of the hour news. My name's Dan Reeves, along with Dr. Fowler and Dr. Larry Newman.
It's 2 a.m.
And the restaurant's going to be involved, Doc and Larry. The Blacksmith Restaurant, The Wall, Besso's, 731 Cookies going to be here. Look, I know we have an obesity epidemic, but I got to tell you, cookies taste good. They taste good, Doc.
Can I get me a biscuit, a little mustard on it?
Well, that tastes good as well. Yeah, you ever had a mustard biscuit?
I like a mustard biscuit. I like French fries, a little mustard too.
Think like that. You just a boy. You need to think about good thoughts while you still a boy.
Yeah, you really should, Doc. It's
Yeah, they's good, all right.
Yeah, they's good, all right. I tell you that. It's you ain't no kin to me. Go about to start. You know that Sling Blade, the movie that we're referencing here, they had a budget of like $10. It was nothing.
But listen, it was an amazing story. I loved it. I really loved it. The moral tension there that the character played, and just a fantastic, deeply moving movie. I loved it.
It was fantastic. If you don't think Billy Bob Thornton is a great actor, watch him in Sling Blade, then watch him in Dirty Santa. Two totally different characters. All right, Doc, you got a breakdown of the deaths in America.
The question is, and people have got themselves all alarmed about the use of rifles in the commission of homicides. This is data from the FBI in 2019, so it probably still holds true. In 2019, the number of homicides committed with rifles was 364, although 3,326 were committed with other types of unknown firearms. I'm not sure what that means, given modern science. Most of the time, you can identify what type of firearm was used. 200 homicides were used to commit 200 shotguns were used to commit homicides. 600 people were killed by fists, hands, or feet. 1,500 by blunt objects, poison, explosives, fire, narcotics. 1,476 by knives or cutting instruments. So knives, other weapons, hatchets, poisons, explosions, fire, narcotics, hands, fists, and feet significantly outnumber the deaths caused by rifles.
Rifles.
Yeah.
And I want to be fair about this because we're trying a different model for success here. We're going against the grain of how it's done by the corporate media and we don't enjoy misleading our family. Do we, fellas? No.
Absolutely not.
It's I've got to think that never in America have I seen a guy walking around with a rifle at Walmart or on the sidewalk. Now, I have seen them walking around with handguns, where they had them in a holster on their side, and I've not necessarily been alarmed by that, because depending on how you don't see it. For one thing, until maybe you're up close and guys with his wife and family,
right.
But a guy walking around with a rifle, now I'm going to be alarmed at that. And that may be why those rifles are so far down on the list, is because I think this is relatively new, that you would be able to walk around, at the mall with a rifle.
Right. Now, there's nothing that prevents the mall owners and nothing prevents Walmart from saying, while you are welcome to carry your firearm anywhere else, you're not welcome to carry it in here. There's no question that Walmart could do that, and probably ought to.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would cut down on that, because it just becomes so cumbersome to put it in the truck and then get it out and so forth and so forth.
Yeah, because if you go to the drive-through at Chick-fil-A, and if you have a rifle in your vehicle, Chick-fil-A doesn't have this problem, because it's miraculous that they can have two lines backed up. They've got to have the Madison County Sheriff's Department out there, and they get you in and out of that line quicker than Burger King, who has two cars there. It's amazing when you pay people a decent amount of money, how much more that they tend to be productive.
Well, that's interesting. I've seldom been seriously stressed at Chick-fil-A, but I've often been aggravated at other burger joints, other fast food joints, because of the slovenly service. So Chick-fil-A's got a fantastic model.
Well, they do it. It's so consistent everywhere you go. But if I had a rifle and said, could you get that out? I'm in a hurry. I get a feeling they might step it up, but they at least would be nervous, It's
going to cause you to have about 3 or 4 pop knots on your head. How big a boy are you?
But again, in our time, there may be a fist fight and it's over.
Yeah.
Today, it doesn't seem like that's the case, does it?
No.
So, and you mentioned church, and the number of Americans in church is slipping, the percentage, and I think that's the fault of the church. Then, because in other Western countries, we are far and away the most religious of Western countries, and their numbers are well below ours. So I don't think. Well, there are people that will tell you that in order to do the right thing, I don't need the promise of a reward, heaven, nor the threat of punishment, hell. I've heard it said that way. So,
the only problem with that, when's the last time you went to a hospital supported by atheists?
So what do you mean by that?
The Baptists, the Catholics, the Jews all support hospitals. They support education.
I could look it up, and I'm sure that's that's fine work, but usually with a message attached to it.
Yeah.
And I've also heard this: if a guy's dying in a hospital bed, and you go in there and say, "Hey, listen, guy, you don't have long left. Repent, and you won't go to hell." I don't know if that's
I don't know if that works either. That's not a strong marketing.
What if you had an atheist? What if you had an atheist going around and said, "Hey, look, I'm here to tell you, you only got a day left. You may as well." Well, they kick him out of there.
Yeah, but frequently, as people approach that aspect of their life, they suddenly develop an awareness, and they want prayers, and they want.
They call it. You know what they call it? Pascal's wager.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. We'll be right back. It's an interesting discussion, Doc. It's great to see you
Good
always.
To be here.
And isn't it nice being here, not be like in a sweat box?
Well, I wanted to thank management for fixing the air conditioner because it's tolerable in here now.
It's tolerable. Isn't it nice, Larry?
Tolerable.
Larry said the best I can say for it is tolerable. We'll be right back. Here's the news. Stand by for news. And in hour number 2.
This is WBFG 96.5 FM, 96.5 FM, Parker's Crossroads, Jackson.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. 4 people killed, 9 others hospitalized at a shooting at a bank building in downtown Louisville. The suspected shooter also dead, a 23-year-old male who was an employee of the bank. Police answered that shooting call in 3 minutes. Dr. Jason Smith, Louisville Chief Medical Officer, had nothing but praise for the officers.
I want to say thank you to our police officers and our EMS services. I have no doubt in my mind that they saved lives today. I think they, as many in the healthcare industry, have been through a difficult time recently, but they have stood up and stand up for Louisville and the people of Louisville constantly. They have our thanks from U of L Health.
3 of the victims still fighting for their lives. Also at townhall.com. In an interview taped Saturday from Taiwan, Texas Congressman Mike McCall, who chairs the House Foreign Affairs Committee, says China was conducting extra flights and military drills around Taipei during a visit by the U.S. congressional delegation.
This is an intimidation tactic that they're known for. The size of this one is quite large, one of the largest ones we've seen. But it's not going to intimidate us.
McCall was on NBC's Meet the Press. The Justice Department is appealing a Texas court ruling that would halt approval of the most commonly used method of abortion in the U.S. The request to the Fifth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals was filed after conflicting court rulings over the legality of the abortion medication mifepristone put in doubt access to the drug that has been widely available now for more than 20 years. The court ruling was issued Friday but would not take effect for 7 days. A mixed close on Wall Street. The Dow had 77 points, but the Nasdaq lost 3. More at townhall.com.
Relief Factor, pain relief that's natural, pain relief that works, and pain relief that attacks the source of the pain. That's the experience of tens of thousands of Americans who are taking Relief Factor right now. See their incredible video endorsements at relieffactor.com and then order your 3-week quick starter pack for just $19.95. That's less than $1 a day. Find out if it can work for you like it works for me by ordering your 3-week quick starter pack today. relieffactor.com, relieffactor.com. Be the next success story.
Execution's 11 p.m., but he's trying to convince us he's gone insane.
Therefore incapable of being executed.
On April 14th.
Edward?
I'm not Edward. I'm a demon. In the vein of C.S. Lewis's Screwtape Letters. I think it's time we tell you what it is that we'd like you to do. Comes Nefarious. Rated R. Under 17, not admitted without parent. In theaters April 14th.
There's more reported trouble in the Holy Land. We have the latest from the Media Line's Felice Friedson.
Israel's triple celebration of Passover, Easter, and Ramadan has been marred by terrorist killings and soaring tension between the Jewish and Islamic populations. 2 sisters aged 16 and 21 from London were murdered in a shooting attack on Friday as their car traveled through the Jordan Valley. The assailant escaped after emptying more than 20 rounds at the girls. Their mother, who was driving, remains in critical condition. Later that day, another vehicular homicide took place in Tel Aviv's signature walkway along the Mediterranean across from the city's luxury hotels. A visitor from Italy was killed and 6 others wounded. A score of rockets were launched from Lebanon and the Gaza Strip. I'm Felice Friedson, Town Hall News, Jerusalem.
News and analysis at themedialine.org and townhall.com. The death toll from Sunday's avalanche in the French Alps has risen now to 6. Including 2 mountain guides. Charles de Ledesma reports.
The prosecutor's office in Bonneville, in the Haute-Savoie region, says the most recent body was found after searches resumed on Monday morning, while the prefecture of the region added 1 person has been sent to hospital with minor injuries and 8 other people were found unharmed. No details have been provided on the identity of the victims. The National Weather Service had not issued a specific avalanche warning, assessing the risk as limited. The avalanche on Sunday rolled down a glacier in the Haute-Savoie, almost 20 miles southwest of Chamonix. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
2 roadside bombings targeting police vehicles in volatile southwestern Pakistan have killed 4 people and wounded 22. Pakistan has been battling insurgency for more than a decade. More on these stories at townhall.com.
The Rocket is coming to Jackson April 13th, Meridian Baptist Church. Roger Clemens will be the guest at the 4th annual benefit to the Trey Lindsay Scholarship. Roger Clemens has an unprecedented 7 Cy Young Awards, 354 wins, and 4,672 strikeouts. Clemens' career spanned 24 years with the Red Sox, the Yankees, the Blue Jays, and Astros. The 11-time All-Star, winning 2 World Series with the New York Yankees. Silent auction is huge with sports celebrity memorabilia along with hunts, duck calls, vacation packages, restaurant packages, and more. Follow posts on Facebook mentioning items leading up to the event. Call 731-217-7187, 731-217-7187 for table sponsor or ticket information. Brought to you by Work Care Resources and News Talk 96.5 FM and NewsTalkWTN.com.
Looking to add a little spice to your love life?
Nothing adds spice like gunpowder.
Jackson's only indoor shooting range, date night at the range. Here's what you lovebirds get: a shooting lane for 2 targets, 100 rounds of ammo, eye and ear protection, and a $30 gift certificate to Texas Roadhouse. All for just $99.99.
Now that's firepower.
Perfect for a gift card from the range. The range, 2310 North Highland Avenue in Jackson.
Go to therange.com.
Award-winning Watson's Cleaning Service specializes in commercial and residential cleaning. Watson's cleans huge commercial buildings. West Tennessee Agriculture and Education Center, the Federal Court Building in downtown Jackson. Watson's also specializes in residential cleaning services, stripping and waxing floors, buffing, pulling trash, sweeping and mopping, vacuuming, household cleaning, baseboards, walls, dishes, dusting and organizing. Call 731-293-3808. Family owned and operated Watson's Cleaning Services. 293-3808.
She was 27 years old. She took the gun that my grandfather had given her for self-defense. She never got to see her son grow up to be anything. Because she had easy access to a gun, I've been robbed of that relationship.
63 Americans a day die by gun suicide. With safe gun storage, we can give our loved ones a second chance at life. Learn more at endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by Brady and the Ad Council.
Have you noticed IV drips popping up all over town? But only one premier health and wellness provider, Jackson IV and Wellness Clinic, offers the latest advances in medical IV treatments. Our highly trained nurse practitioners administer nutrient-infused IVs and injections to provide essential quality of life vitamins and minerals. Jackson IV and Wellness Clinic. Safe, natural, replenishing. 1022 Greystone Square, Jackson. Request an appointment today at jacksoniv.com.
News Talk 96.5 FM weather presented by Dustin Ring. Dustin buys houses fast for cash. Call Dustin now, 731-200-1362. Monday brings abundant sunshine with highs near 70. Winds south, 5 to 10. Clear skies tonight, lows in the mid-40s. Dustin Ring, Dustin buys houses fast for cash. Call Dustin now, 731-200-1362. DustinBuys.com.
Take us with you wherever you go. Download our free apps for Apple and Android. Visit newstalkwtn.com. Then click to download.
Past 4 as we broadcast from the Gene Langley Ford Studio in Jackson, Tennessee. Here on News Talk 96.5, Gene Langley Ford in Humboldt, now straddling Eastern Drive on one side of the street, the new car division, the other side, the pre-owned division of Gene Langley Ford in Humboldt. And now the concierge service they've introduced. Ricky for the service department. If you're within a 15-mile radius, if you need an oil change or any service work, they'll come and pick your vehicle up. They'll take it into the oil change or whatever the service may be and then deliver it back to your house or to your office. Concierge service from the service department at Gene Langley Ford in Humboldt. Now that is customer service, don't you say, Doc?
Oh, that's a great marketing device. So convenient. You know, they can come and pick it up at your work and you don't have to stop work and worry about getting there on time. That's a great idea. I hope that works well.
That's stinking awesome. It really is. My name's Dan Reeves, along with Dr. Mark Fowler and Larry Newman. Hello, Newman.
Hello, Reeves.
Good to see you too, Larry. You may join us, the CWA Development phone lines. You can call us 731-265-6496 as we search for the Budweiser King of Calls. If you get the best call of the day, you'll have a nice prize back coming your way, courtesy of Budweiser and Central Distributors right here in Jackson. It's the Budweiser King of Calls here on the program today. And Budweiser will be here for our launch party on April the 21st at 2152 North Highland Avenue in Jackson. And we want you to be here. The restaurants that will be here so far, the Blacksmith Restaurant, The Wall, SO's, 731 Cookie. And I got to call... we want to get Mulligan's out here as well. Mary from Mulligan's. She's been so busy, that's the only way we're going to get to see her if we get her out here. I mean, they've in Bradley and it'd be fun to have them all out here.
Yeah.
I tell you, and the band is a 3-time award-winning band from Alabama.
Tremaine.
Exactly. Forget about the setup. Tremaine that's right, Larry. It is Tremaine. They'll be here playing some great 80s and 90s. It's just absolute rock classic and country classics. That's two great decades of music. Do you have a favorite decade from music, Doc?
Late 50s, early 60s.
Well, they say that your favorite music is what was playing when you first kissed a girl.
Well, mine's still early 50s.
How come her to still be girlfriends and all with him? He mean to her.
Well, it's because of great music, I guess. What about
right.
you, Larry?
70s and 80s.
70s and 80s. Is that the first time you kissed a girl?
No.
Help!
No?
Way before that.
There you go.
What music was playing?
None.
Are you a romantic devil, you?
Hear me!
It's
Did you see stars?
No, huh?
Did you see any? What'd you see?
I didn't see anything. I had my eyes closed.
I'd hope she did too.
Dan, got a minute? Let's talk about early voting.
You know what? I don't want to let him off that way. So you had your eyes closed. Where was it at?
Between the A and the T.
Well, here she is. Here she is now. Thank you for calling, ma'am. Okay, Larry, you want to get to something, Doc? What is it?
Yeah, we got early voting starts Wednesday, April 12th at the Election Commission offices at 311 North Parkway, across the street from Jackson-Madison County Schools Central Office. Along with the mayor's race, there are 2 contested races for city council. District 5 pits Tara Skinner, the incumbent, for District 4, but who'll be moving districts because of redrawn district lines, against Frank McMean. In District 6, Byron Elam and Larry Lawrence are both running for that office. Skinner, who has been in the council for nearly a year and a half after being appointed to the seat opened by the passing of Councilman Harvey Buchanan. McMean has been president of West Tennessee Healthcare for more than 20 years, leading fundraising efforts for that fund. District 6 ballot looks partisan. Elam is the former chairman of the Madison County Democratic Party, and Lawrence is the former chairman of the Republican Party. So early voting, April 12th, get in and vote if you can't vote on the regular day, and make sure you vote. Your vote does count.
Now, we've reached out to Larry Lawrence and Byron Elam. I don't know if we reached out to. I did call Byron the other day, and I know Melissa called Larry to invite him in. I think Larry's schedule had a conflict, so we'd like to get both those guys in. And if you are in a race, then please contact Melissa at the front office here at 731-800-NEWS, and we'll get you scheduled to come on one of the programs and ask for the votes. The city council did approve JTA funding. The Jackson City Council approved a $540,000 budget request for Jackson Transit Authority on its first reading in the April City Council meeting. Now, the request is to fund the transit service for the rest of the fiscal year after a budgeting error meant that they may have to cut the service. Now, most of the money JTA is requesting is a match for a federal grant, which the city would need to pay half of that. While there was not much discussion during the city council meeting, many of the city council members were made aware of the issue during the agenda review that came up a couple of weeks ago. Now, we haven't talked about this, but have you ever ridden a city bus?
No. Yeah, well, not here. I've ridden them in Knoxville and Memphis and other places.
Hey, Larry, have you?
Yes.
Yeah. There's a need for it. I assume. Yeah. So, a city this size. So, we all good with that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. You've got it. The city council. You can go ahead on with it. We've approved it here. That is on first reading.
Yeah, we did.
That was on first reading. Let's see. Any more other business we need to vote on today? Because we're good with JTA. Now, they've got some great Americans that working with Jackson Transit Authority. I got to tell you, They're fantastic. Did you guys see the mayor's forum? Was it last week?
Yeah, it was.
How'd that go?
A few days ago. Yeah, I watched it. It was great. It really was great. The commentators did a good job. The candidates did a nice job. It was very professionally done.
Well, it's Jackson State Community College. We're working with the Jackson Post. I thought they'd do a good job. Somehow I missed it. But I have reached out to Brandon Shields with the Jackson Post to see if he can stop by today. The Jackson Post, I actually have a paper in my hand.
Yeah?
This is weird, isn't it?
That's nice.
It's hard to read this, though, because my reading glasses are Blu-ray to help so I can read the computer screen. Now we need some reading glasses that are tailor-made for the paper all of a sudden. It's good to see Brandon and I forgot the young lady's name is working. Julia. They're doing a good job. So it's good to see local in the paper. You know, so we cover it. Our website, folks, we think is the best one around. It's newstalk965.com, newstalk965.com, where you can watch the programs. We're local and live from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday, with the exception of 1 to 3, and it's Dave Ramsey on 1 to 3. And we'd love you to help us spread the word that we've got billboards up across town. Have you seen those billboards, Larry?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, it's got my picture on there. No, actually, it doesn't. It's got, it looks good. You download our free mobile apps. They fit Apple and they fit Android. That's for just, if you've got Apple, go to your app store and type in Newstalk 96.5, 96.5 FM. And if you've got an Android, go to your Google Play Store and type in Newstalk 96.5 FM and download our free mobile apps. We have our website embedded in those apps, and we build apps. So if your business needs an app, if you'd like to talk with us about it, please contact us at 731-234-5195. And if we build websites, we manage SEOs, we build social media platforms, and or manage those social media platforms for businesses here. We've been doing it for 23 years, and we'd love to help your business to make sure that you would think these days that businesses have their SEO in line and their Google Maps and their Apple Maps. But when you're running a business, geez, Doc, this you're a businessman as well as a doctor and a lawyer. You're a slacker, I got to tell you. But that takes up all your time. You would think you'd have those things in place, but man, you're busy from dusk till dawn.
Yeah, but I've got the app. I've got the app for Android.
Yes, I know. I'm talking about these businesses that may not have their Google Maps in place or their Apple Maps.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah, because they're so busy. They're stocking shelves.
Yeah, but
they're unloading trucks.
They got to get those Google directions on there and the telephone numbers on there.
We'll help you with that.
So you can contact them. Absolutely.
And make sure when somebody does the search for you that you pop up right up there at the top of the list.
Right.
Larry, have you ever Googled yourself?
Yes, I have.
I'm glad I wasn't there to see it. Those poor cats. It's what popped up when you Googled?
A magician.
Believe that, jeez.
No, it's a magician.
Have we,
got 3 or 4 pop knots on your head? How big a boy
earlier in the month, we were
boy.
talking about Paul Sherrod, who got arrested during the midst of the mayor's campaign.
Right.
Has there been many more developments on that?
I've not heard anything on that, Doc. What's your thoughts on it? Just curious?
I'm just curious. I mean, it is a news item. He is a mayor's candidate, and I just want to know what the status of that was.
Well, it's I've known Paul a long time, and we have mutual friends who they went to high school with Paul at Old Hickory Academy. They love him. I love the dude. I think you're looking at something, possibly personality disorder or something, mental disorder. And that's no criticism of Paul. I mean, he didn't sign up for that.
Right.
And a lot of people didn't sign up for it, but I've got a newfound respect for mental and personality disorders. There's a whole nother life out there that some people don't know about.
Yeah.
It's sad, and
it is
very sad. So Paul is a smart guy. He's very engaging. He's a funny guy. He's got a lot of wits, but then there's that side of him, and it's
maybe
it's
has
sad.
a temper problem or something.
It's really sad, I tell you. Well, in this program, Larry plays the good guy, I think, with all the good information, and I'm the guy that plays the other part here on this program. We'd love you to join us, 731-265-6496. And we got several texts here to get to on the Advanced Rehab and Medical text line. You can text the program at 731-800-TEXT, 731-800-8398 to shoot us over a text here on the program. And let's get to some of those texts that have come in. Fellas, what do you say?
Yes, sir.
All right, so this one comes in and it reads, well, let's see. There's several of them here. We'll try to read them as they've come in. Dear Dan, the Republican answer for everything, take 2 tax cuts and a gun and call me in the morning. Sad but true. Repeal the seconds, or we will be sending thoughts and prayers for years to come. What do you say to that?
Well, it is certainly possible to amend the Constitution. And those people who want to amend it are free to follow that process. In the meantime, it is the law of the land. It's the supreme law of the land. And there is a gun problem, and we are sympathetic to it. And if there is a solution out there, I think the Republicans want to find it just as much as the Democrats do. But the very real danger in my eyes and in the eyes of many other people is the first thing that totalitarian governments do is take your guns away from you. And that's something that is a part of our heritage, to hold on to our guns as a mechanism for holding on to our freedom.
Well, that's true with totalitarian governments, but it's also true with governments that are not totalitarian. It doesn't mean that well, like England's not totalitarian,
right?
And but it's.
That's an interesting observation. England is not totalitarian, and guns are very tightly controlled. They can only be kept if you're either hunting shotguns. They have to be kept in the gun club. So it's not as though people walk around with guns like we do in Britain, and they kind of look at us askance in Britain about that. Australia recently restricted the handling of guns. So you correctly point out
it was the most recent restriction. Yeah. New Zealand, same thing.
Mm-hmm.
After a mass shooting a few years ago, you probably remember that. It's what was it, Christchurch, New Zealand, and I got to tell you, they take democracy seems to be more seriously than we do.
Right.
Watching the press work over there.
Right.
From the text line, this one, you can text the program 731-800-8398 to join us in the program from Jackson, Tennessee. Jackson into Parker's Crossroads. What up, Parker's Crossroads? Respond to us. Lexington. We want to hear from you. What do you do? Do you have a solution? The shooting in Louisville this morning. Are we 2 weeks out from the Nashville school shooting?
Right.
The shooting in Louisville, Kentucky this morning, just up the road from Nashville. And this was at a bank. And what was it, Doc, the number we have that were killed?
9 wounded, 3 killed.
That was this morning in Louisville, Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
From the Advanced Rehab and Medical text line, this text comes in and says, Dear Dad, it's gun availability, not mental illness.
No.
What do you say to that?
No. The gun is an inanimate object. The gun doesn't kill anybody without the agency of a human being. There are over 400 million guns in the United States. Very few of them will be used in a homicide. So it is not the gun, it's the person handling the gun.
Yeah, it is. I agree with you. It's a mental illness act. We shouldn't sell gun to mentally ill people.
No.
I think we all agree with that, right?
Right.
So how do you determine if someone's mentally ill?
That's the tough one right there.
They could do a background on them. From the text line, this one reads, I can debunk all of your taking points or talking points, is what they meant, about guns. He means long guns. I think they may be talking about you, Doc. If all of this is true, what you all are saying, then we all need more guns, right? Well, Doc did point out those were long guns. So Doc wasn't trying to fool you. He was reading it as it was off that chart.
Yeah, there are people who say the best response to a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun, and that proved true both in Nashville and in Louisville, because the assailant was shot to death by the police officer.
I think we all can agree, though, that a good guy with a gun is just not getting it done. But I mean, those three kids died.
Yeah,
and yes, it was heroic work to get there. But still, if we didn't sell guns to crazy people, there'd be 3 kids alive, today.
Right.
But we all agree with that.
Yeah.
So, from the text line, this one reads, Stanley, and thoughts and prayers, and move on. I do not believe that about knives compared to guns. No, not overall. Doc was talking about long guns, and that's what he said. He wasn't trying to mislead you.
Yeah. Now, those were the statistics from the FBI from 2019. 200 or 300 some odd people killed by long guns, several thousand killed by handguns, but a significant number killed by hands, fists, and feet, knives, and other things. So long guns are not necessarily the problem. Handguns are certainly a problem.
But the reason why long guns are not necessarily the problem is they're not carried at the clip,
right?
In town. But legislation in Tennessee will soon change that, right?
Yeah. Well, I hope not. I hope they reconsider.
I wonder. Yeah, I wonder if they will. Also, today we're going to get to what's happening in Nashville. And Doc, there's some things going down in Nashville. If you'll get us up to date with the activities in Nashville, Tennessee, and this ain't hee-haw, folks. So don't laugh if the good old boy's getting on it. What's happening in Nashville today, Doc?
All right. As you know, Representative Jones and Pearson were expelled from the House the other day. Pearson is from Memphis. Jones is from Nashville. And a number of Nashville City Council members have indicated that they would vote to return Jones. Now, interestingly, what will happen is Jones will be resent back to the legislature, but will still have to stand for special election. And the Memphis City Council, the Shelby County Council, has also indicated they would send back Pearson. So it appears that a good bit of this tempest in a teapot is not going to amount to much. Perhaps it sent a message.
I don't think it's going to make for a better working environment. Do you?
No, because I think Chris Todd pointed out that the problem with these 3 legislatures was they tended to spend more time grandstanding than they did hard work. And working in the legislature is hard. You have got to know the issues, and you've got to sit down with people across the aisle and say, what is it that you want? This is what I want. How can we solve some problems here?
I got to tell you, they didn't remind me of 3 brain surgeons if they had a bullhorn.
No.
But what's more damaging, though, is what they did, or some of the legislation that comes out of there. Now, one doesn't have anything to do with the other one. You can't, when you get, pardon me, when you get upset with something, you can't go up, stand up at a bullhorn. There, as you mentioned earlier, there are procedures where you can make a difference, and there's nothing in that blue book that says, hey, if all else fails, get a hammer or a bullhorn and stand up and just what was flying out of their face made no sense. Right. It was embarrassing. If I was their constituents, I'd say, you know what, we need 2 new people in there. And this the way this has been playing up, and here we go again on Saturday Night Live. It's a really bad look, there's no doubt. But instead of focusing on their behavior, I think people are focusing on, well, the Republicans have supermajority, they'll do whatever they want to do. Or, well, the 2 black guys got kicked out, and the white woman, she survived. She did by 1 vote. She had some political capital. That's what kept it alive, not the color of her skin.
Right.
So here we go again as a country that of 3rd graders, adults can't focus on the real problem. And in this particular case, it was a stinking bullhorn on the stinking floor. That was the problem.
Yeah. For 45 minutes, they held sway on the floor. But interestingly, and nobody's talking about this much, Governor Lee does propose that he will fund school resource officers for every public school in the state. That is progress. Of
a sort.
Of a sort. And if he had included private schools, that would be even greater progress. So hardening the schools is part of the solution.
Somebody's got to pay for that.
Yeah.
And
I thought you were going to write a check.
I'll write a check.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have any problem with that at all. Now it's.
No, we shouldn't make light of that.
I prefer to write a 2-party out-of-state check. Governor, I'll be glad to write it if I can write it for, I don't know, $100 over and a little walking around money. But it's so where are the fiscal conservatives here? It's okay. Let's get the taxpayers up to fund a security guard or an armed guard or a police officer in every single school in Tennessee, but we just can't ask people to do a background check to see if they're mentally capable of carrying a gun. I don't understand it. With adults, what's the problem? What do you think the real problem here is? Why it just seems to be going too far to check and see if a guy is mentally unstable to carry a gun?
The logistics of it.
But we do it for everything else. I mean, you can't get a driver's license without
but you
going
don't
through
have
a background
you don't have a mental health background check for that.
You have plenty of background checks for a vehicle. You got to pass a test. You got to pass a driving test.
Right.
You got to pass an eyesight test. It's so yeah. It's
an interesting idea.
So why but it can't be that complicated. If it's that complicated, we probably shouldn't sell guns. I mean, if you can't check and see if a guy's crazy before you sell him a gun, just to simplify it, I know it's probably the woke crowd's going, "Oh, geez, he said crazy," but you know what I'm saying. What difference does it make? I mean, no one would say it's a good idea to sell a guy that has a mental illness or a personality disorder a gun. Nobody would agree with that. I don't think.
Right.
But then why don't we do it?
But the mechanics, the logistics of it, are time consuming, cumbersome.
Our
and expensive.
country listens in on our phone calls. Our country, they read our emails in the name of safety. And you're telling me we can't do a background check? We put a man on the moon in the 60s. We can do a background check to see if a guy is being treated for a mental illness. We can do it. I mean, don't you think, Larry?
No, I don't.
Why not? Why not?
It's the same thing.
Why is
it's different than a background check that they normally do because they
in
don't.
what way?
They don't because they get whatever court, driving, any kind of records like that are public knowledge. When you start getting into people's medical,
but we're not going to make it. Don't. If you're going to make it public, yes, they're not going to make it public.
No,
what are
I'm
you talking
saying,
about?
All that stuff is public information.
Criminal records.
It's out there.
Yeah, criminal records.
It's out there. It's in the records.
That's so what? They still have to check a database. These things are on file.
Yeah.
But mental illness.
Not your mental.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
It's not.
Nope.
No, what file?
Medical.
You don't think that's
medical.
The doctors,
all that stuff.
You don't think doctors keep records on people they're treating?
Yeah,
except for mental patients.
No, but now you're talking about.
Yes, they are. It is on file there.
Well, you're talking about it's on file in with the insurance companies who are paying the doctors who are treating mental illness.
So it's on, like I was saying, it's on file.
It's on file, probably.
But how could we possibly allow the insurance companies to check and see if someone's being treated for mental illness? Well, how could we possibly? It's too hard, the logistics.
Yeah.
Well, they seem to be able to do it.
The logistics are hard, but here's the thing.
Yeah, but they seem to be able to do it with no problem.
Seroquel is an antipsychotic, but it's also used for sleep.
Now you're playing. You're having fun with words now. That's and you know you are.
Yeah, but you
Semantics,
still haven't fleshed out
this.
the logistics of the background check.
Well, just all we have to do is follow the lead of insurance companies. They seem to be able to do it easily, but we just can't seem to find it in our hearts, or we think it's just too hard to check and see if a guy has mental illness or personality disorder before we sell him a hand cannon.
The logistics of that are
I think you're going to have to explain to me how the insurance companies are able to pull it off.
The insurance companies do it because they have access to the billing records of the doctors.
Okay, so you're telling me the federal government can't use the same system?
I'm telling you that privacy interest would outweigh.
This is not going to make it public. You guys act like we're going to make this public.
The gun clerk will know.
Well, so?
Well,
I mean,
that's
somebody
public.
needs to know.
The gun clerk is going to know.
But the gun clerk, look, then the guy knows it's illegal to go out and share that information.
Right.
So, I mean, what are you going to say? We just can't trust anybody to keep that secret?
But I just think that even the interested parties who want
I'd rather
investigation
hurt somebody's feelings than for 3 more kids, and I know you would as well. I'm not saying you're not. So I don't understand this thought pattern of it's just I want to protect the rights of a mental patient more than I want to protect the rights of children, and that's the leading cause of death for children in America is what? Guns.
It used to be car crashes. It
No,
is
it's-
now
it's
guns.
guns.
Yeah.
So why so much to protect the rights of mental patients to be able to carry guns? I don't understand.
Well, what degree of mental illness are you going to make a cutoff? Where's the bright line?
I'm not a doctor. I think that would
this
be
is
up
your
to a
idea.
doctor. Yeah, it is my idea because is this not logical to you?
It's logical, except for the fact that the logistics are almost overwhelming.
Well, then maybe we shouldn't even sell guns. If it's this hard to keep guns out of the hand of crazy people, then maybe we just shouldn't sell guns. This isn't complicated. Do a background check, and if a guy is being treated for mental illness, hey, I got a great idea. Don't sell a guy that's crazy a stinking hand cannon.
Right. Okay.
It seems to make sense to me.
Which may or may not have affected the Louisville shooter at all, who appeared to have snapped in response to being discharged.
Yeah, you're assuming it didn't, and I'm not assuming that it did, but we know that it's played a large part, and it certainly did in Nashville 2 weeks ago.
Now, let me take this a step further. There is an ethical obligation on the part of doctors and psychiatrists to report to the authorities if their patient has expressed an interest in hurting somebody. That's already out there.
Oh, we got to stop that because it may get out to the public.
But
you
no,
okay with that?
It goes to law enforcement.
Well,
and-
so with this information, it's.
But I have no
and
data
by the
on
way,
whether or not it's effective.
The clerk is won't necessarily see any. Well, they won't see any of this. All they do is submit the name, and
they
what,
get a no.
What they get back is a no.
Yeah, they
and
get a no.
they can just say, "I have no idea why." You can call this number to find out.
Now, I will submit that there is a step that we ought to take that we haven't taken, and that is this. If you see something, say something. In Colorado the other day, a young lady who happens to be transgender began to talk about hurting other people. Her parents turned her in. The authorities went out there and confiscated bombs and manifestos and journals indicating that she did have plans to hurt. So, if you have somebody who is hurting, who is literally going off the deep end, it might be worth a telephone call to the law enforcement to have them evaluate.
Yeah.
That could be
What
very
what if I were to say, that's just the information may get out in the public? You would think I was crazy.
Well, no, you're talking about a mother, father, say, of the Nashville shooter, who calls the sheriff's department and says, listen, our daughter, very strange now, secretive.
I got you, but I mean, again,
that could be helpful.
It's nothing would be more helpful than to add in a background check to make sure a guy's not crazy before he buys a gun.
Right.
And
Would you let Leah Thomas have a gun?
Leah Thomas.
Leah Thomas is a University of Pennsylvania swimmer who identifies as a transgender all of a sudden.
That transgender's come up 3 times on this program here. What's up with you and transgender?
Well, I'm just saying there is serious mental illness.
They're like ones. Well, now that transgenders, that's not a mental
That is a mental illness. It's called gender dysphoria.
What about is homosexuality a mental illness?
It used to be, but it is not anymore.
It used to be.
It did. It used to be. The American Psychiatric Association declared it a mental illness up until the 1970s.
We used to burn witches at the stake.
Yeah.
It's, hey, Beauty to the Bone, complete skin treatments to rejuvenate you. You can discover the latest advanced skincare treatments at Beauty to the Bone. You know Michelle Bone, don't you?
Yes, I do.
She has really hit her stride. She was born to do this.
Oh, yeah.
Fantastic. She is the best advertisement for, on this station, by the way, Michelle. But she just looks fantastic.
Yeah.
Her skin. And just for men facials, 60 minutes where you'll be pampered with a facial. And guys, you're going to have to step it up. And if you got a teenager that has acne or has some skin tone problem, just for teens facial, they've got those. Teeth whitening, skin corrections, hair removal. Larry, we're almost to bikini season.
I'm gonna wear a bikini.
Time to do some manscaping, big guy. LED light therapy, jelly mask. They do all 4D facelifting, smooth eye laser, acne treatment laser. They do it, micro needling. You can look young again and mixed it. I go from advanced rehab and medical with BioTE right over to beauty to the bone. Man, I love it. Shannon and Michelle, don't ever move, please. 153 North Star Drive in Jackson. Right there in Beauty to the Bone Med Spa, 731-499-8694. Discover the latest in advanced skin care treatments. Beauty to the Bone with Michelle Bone. It's 4:43. This text comes in and says, "Dear Dan, liberals gonna love Dr. Fowler." I don't know what they meant by that. You think they're being
elaborate on that.
You think they're being facetious, Doug?
I think it could be.
We'll be right back.
News Talk West Tennessee includes NewsTalk965.com and NewsTalk 96.5 FM, covering local news, sports, and weather on an extensive network of platforms, including radio, social media streaming, digital TV, live stream, podcasts, all on your devices. Our local and live weekday lineup includes Daybreak with Greg Wood and G-Unit, Walker Talks with Chuck Walker and Julie Holt, The Dan Reeves Show with Gina Langley and Larry Newman, Dave Ramsey, Jackson-Madison County Schools Game of the Week, UT Vol Sports, and the Memphis Grizzlies. Local, live, News Talk West Tennessee and NewsTalk965.com. Hear it first on News Talk 96.5 FM. We might be talking about you. Welcome to Hampton Inn & Suites of Jackson. Make yourself at home in any of the 83 rooms or suites. Hampton Inn & Suites exit 83 at I-40 is minutes away from all Jackson destinations like the West Tennessee Healthcare Sportsplex, Casey Jones Village, Jackson-Madison County General Hospital, and many industrial complexes. Enjoy free Wi-Fi, free parking, and free hot breakfast. Also a 24-hour fitness and business center. Welcome to West Tennessee. Make your reservations now by calling direct at 731-427-6100 or visit hampton.com.
King Jewelers is not your typical jewelry store. It's an iconic symbol of love. Custom-made jewelry to suit the most discriminating taste. Or you can redesign an old piece that's just sitting in a jewelry box. Create something completely new and unique. Grover has over 40 years experience as a certified jeweler. Visit KingJewelerJackson.com. King Jewelers at 16B Conrad Drive, Jackson. Follow King Jewelers Jackson on social media for special savings.
Is your office or home office in need of a new printer, copier, fax, or multifunction machine? Do you need business cards, envelopes, or office supplies? Are you looking to upgrade to new office furniture? Office World Incorporated in Trenton has been serving all of the Gibson County and the West Tennessee area for over 65 years. Office World is a franchise partner of OfficeZilla. Call today, 731-855-9131, or email officeworldinc@gmail.com.
Looking to add a little spice to your love life?
Nothing adds spice like gunpowder.
Jackson's only indoor shooting range, date night at the range. Here's what you lovebirds get: a shooting lane for two targets, 100 rounds of ammo, eye and ear protection, and a $30 gift certificate to Texas Roadhouse. All for just $99.99.
Now that's firepower.
Perfect for a gift card from the range. The Range, 2310 North Highland Avenue in Jackson.
Go to therange.com.
My name is Steven and I'm 41 years old. I started having problems with my weight, my focus, my energy all around. I spent thousands of dollars a year on supplements trying to get my weight down, and it never worked.
Are these problems affecting your work, your relationships, and your quality of life? You'll be happy to know there is an exciting, natural solution available called BioT. BioT uses a natural way for men and women to correct these problems by safely and accurately balancing hormone levels without the use of synthetic injections or creams.
I got the treatment, and it has been the best decision of my life. I feel great. I'm losing weight. I have more energy. I'm getting stronger in the gym, and I can focus so much better. And I notice that I also sleep better, and I'm always in a good mood. And I believe it's all because of the BioT treatment.
To schedule an appointment to find out if BioTE is right for you, call 731-462-3596. That's 731-462-3596.
96.5 FM. Home of the Dan Reeves Show.
Weekday afternoons, 3 till 6.
Great to be with you this afternoon here on the program.
We'll do it live.
Yeah, we do it
We'll
live.
do it live. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
That's right, we do it live. You can join us. The phone number is 731-265-6496. 731-265-6496. Join us on the program. Dan Reeves, Dr. Mark Fowler, Larry Newman. The phone is sponsored by CWA Developments. Commercial and residential maintenance, restoration and renovation, fire and water damage restoration, plumbing, gutter, roof and window cleaning, wood repairs, fence and deck repairs. Sundays for emergencies, but they're open Monday through Saturday from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. And Sundays, use the same number I'm about to give you for emergencies. It's 731-503-9598. 80 years of experience, CWA Developments. Fire and water damage restoration, plumbing, they do it all, essentially for commercial and residential. The phone number, get up in here at 731-265-6496, the fastest growing radio station in North America is what we've been told. Advanced Rehab and Medical Text Line, you can text the program at 731-800, text 731-800-8398 to join us on the program. And we got a ton of texts to read to you. Let me tell you, it's Watson's Cleaning Service. They do it. They do a wonderful job cleaning. I tell you, Watson's Cleaning Service. They clean. They specialize in commercial cleaning. They clean that big, beautiful building sitting at the corner of the bypass and the airways. That's the UT Ag Experiment Station. And Larry, you know this. It's also referred to as the house that Lanny Davis built.
Yes, it is.
Mr. Lanny Davis, the late great. And the ceiling in there must be about 2,000, 2,400 feet up. At least it looks that high. I mean, they clean a building that size. That'll let you know if you have a factory, they can clean it. Or if you have an office, doesn't matter what size, they can clean it. They're locally owned, they're family owned and operated. Carlita's a great American, isn't she, Larry?
Yes, she is.
Yes, she is. You've met Carlita Watson?
I don't think I have.
Oh, geez. She is, well, she's very strict, but she also has a wonderful personality. Doesn't she, Blair? I mean, she's a wonderful person.
Yes, she is.
She got me a birthday card and some Chick-fil-A the other day. She's so thoughtful. They strip and they wax floors, they buff, they clean offices, they pull trash, they sweep, they mop, they vacuum, household cleaning, baseboards, wipe down walls, washing dishes, dusting, and organizing. Essentially, they do all the cleaning that Americans don't want to do. When I say Americans, I mean me. You can call them at 731-293-3808. 731-293-3808. Watson's Cleaning Service, 731-293-3808. And the weather forecast, we'll update that for you in a minute. Brought to you by Dustin Ring. Dustin buys houses fast for cash. DustinBuys.com. There's another great American for you right there. I love all these locally owned and operated businesses, don't you?
Love 'em.
Wonderful human beings, I tell you. Well, so Doug, was you getting into something? We went to a break. It seemed like you were.
I have something interesting you might
right.
want to hear.
Hit us with. Larry and I are here for you, Doc. What do you have?
This is from the Tennessean. One Tennessee Republican, Charlie Baum, who is a representative from Murfreesboro, was the only Republican representative to vote against expulsion for all three representatives, Jones, Pearson, and Gloria Johnson. And without his vote, she would have been expelled. He takes the position that it would have been better for all three of them to sit down and work out the mechanism of making speeches from the floor and decorum. He said the leadership did talk to him and told him to vote whatever he thought was right in his heart. And I mention that because it is significant. This is not a Republican get somebody scheme. According to Baum, he was given freedom to vote any way that he wished to vote. And as I said, he voted against expulsion. So sounds like a decent guy, sounds like a reasonable guy. And I thought that was worth mentioning.
Yeah, and I do too. That's if you think it was, pardon me, if you think it was one guy saying, look, here's where you're going to vote, get out there and vote that way. Doesn't seem like that was the case, especially when they say, hey, vote with what you think is the right thing to do. By the way, but I've heard this said, and it's hypothetical. But I was asked, well, do you think it would have been the same thing if it was three Republicans? So, I mean, there's no way I could answer that. There's no correct answer.
It depends on who controls the House.
But everything else the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any thoughts on that, Larry? I mean, I tell you, those three didn't seem like brain surgeons to me.
No, they did not.
What do you say, Larry?
I just think it's over. Now, we'll just have to wait and see if they're going to let them back or if they're going to send them back. That's just kind of
from the text line. From the text line, this one says, "Dear Dan, jazz puts more people to sleep than Bill Cosby." Did I play some jazz? That wasn't jazz. That was Steely Dan. That was kind of. It's not exactly. You don't want to hear that. You won't hear that played in in the final 2 minutes in Pittsburgh. That's true.
This just in from Nashville. Justin Jones has been reappointed to the Tennessee legislature via the Nashville Metro Council vote.
All right, so they decided to go ahead and put him in there.
He goes back.
Well, and you expect the same out of Memphis, right?
I do, yeah. Now, they'll still have to undergo, I mean, this is a temporary thing. They've been expelled, so this doesn't put them back.
This is breaking nationwide here, too, yeah.
This is just temporary, and they'll have to stand for election again. So, onward and upward.
Well, no surprise there.
Nope.
What is that? Is this a game of checkers or chess? Is this... I mean, what good is it to, would it have made sense if they'd have done a huddle up and said, look, guys, we can go ahead and kick them out, but they're going to send them right back here.
Yeah. It made better sense for the speaker to pull them in his office and say, listen, you don't straighten up. And of course, they did this. They kicked them off their committees. But this reminds me, you asked if it was a checkers versus chess. I need to tell you about Tennessee sports as we play it in West Tennessee. You want to hear this?
I'm ready.
I was in the emergency room one day, and two boys came in from a small town in West Tennessee. One of them had a huge gash in the back of his head. And this was Saturday. And I said, well, what happened to you? He said, well.
Does this involve a transgender?
No. He said, we was having a saw blade throwing contest. And I said, well, what is that? He said, well, you take a circular saw blade and you throw it at the outhouse. And I said, I see. And I said, well, what happened? He said, well, he got in the way. So on the chief complaint on the emergency room records, I put second place saw blade throwing contest.
Larry, did you get that?
Yes, I did.
That's how we roll in West Tennessee.
Okay, what happened here? Geez, the screen went all bluey. Larry, what did you do, Larry? Did you unplug
something?
You didn't do anything?
Nope.
Well, hands quicker than I, all I can tell you. It's no, Doc, that was funny. That was. Did you?
I don't encourage that sport.
That's that's not a. Do you remember the classic Johnny Carson, where the guy was on there throwing the hatchet?
Yeah.
And had to cut out man. And,
Ed Ames. Yeah.
Ed Ames. Ed Ames. Jeez, what a great show that was.
Ed Ames played a role as an Indian.
Daniel Boone.
And Daniel Boone, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. It's you remember that classic one where, well, she died. Raquel Welch died recently. She was on there and had her pet or kitty cat sitting in her lap.
That was Zsa Zsa Gabor.
Oh, was it Zsa Zsa Gabor
yeah.
that asked Johnny if you wanted to? I don't even like saying it without getting fined. Former President Trump said, you know, well, never mind.
Let's don't go there.
If you, it's just locker room talk.
Yeah.
We can explain it to the FCC. Well, it's just locker room talk. I don't think they buy that, do you?
No, I don't.
That's. But do you think we make too much of that talk, though? But,
well,
you know,
it's coarse and it's vulgar, but it also makes you laugh and a little bit. And
laughter's good medicine,
right?
right?
I have 3 daughters, but I wouldn't want anybody discussing my daughters that way. So I guess that makes me.
That'll make you. That's a good way to put it, right? Yeah. So who was it? What? Warren Beatty. Geez, who has the newspaper test? I'll think of it in a minute. So the newspaper test is, if you think it's something that you would wind up on the front page of the local paper, then don't do it.
Then don't do it.
Then don't do it. Our survival depends on trusting relationships. You believe that, Doc?
Yeah.
Then we're doomed, aren't we?
Well,
They may be over.
We're not in good shape. We need to go back to Norman Rockwell America. That's what we need.
Explain Norman Rockwell America.
Well, have you ever seen a Norman Rockwell picture? The people are at peace. They're happy. They're getting along. The painting of the Thanksgiving dinner, everybody's happy, and that's what we need to go back to.
You think we have that at one time? Now, you know, Hollywood, all those love movies, they say, it painted an unrealistic picture of what it's like to be married.
But listen,
I mean, really.
I grew up in a suburb of Memphis in the 1960s, and I'm telling you, it was Beaver Cleaver world.
If you were a white guy, it was.
Yeah, it was. Everybody was married. All the parents were married. The boys played ball. The girls were cheerleaders. We got along well. The most egregious thing that happened in school was somebody was chewing gum. We carried pocket knives and dared not thought about stabbing one another. We played ball in the summer. We were out all day long and nobody bothered us. It was a wonderful time to grow up.
Yeah, and I agree. It was wonderful memories, right, Larry?
Yes.
In the pecking order, and sort of. Yeah, there's a lot of that I agree with. Let's continue this. We return. Where'd it go? Where did good times go? It is 4:59. Here's the news. Stand by for news.
This is WBFG 96.5 FM. 96.5 FM. Parker's Crossroads, Jackson.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters reporting. Police say 4 people were killed at a Louisville bank shooting Monday morning along with the shooter. Correspondent Julie Walker reports.
Louisville police say the shooter was inside the Old National Bank when he exchanged gunfire with them. And emotional Governor Andy Beshear says he banks there. This is awful.
I have a very close friend that didn't make it today. And I have another close friend who didn't either, and one who's at the hospital.
Deputy Police Chief Paul Humphrey says it's unclear if police killed the shooter or he took his own life, but it was a lone shooter and an isolated incident having to do with the bank.
I don't know if it was an active employee or a former employee, but the shooter did have a connection.
Audio courtesy WHAS, the mayor saying the community will support each other and work to end gun violence. This is the 15th mass killing in the country this year. I'm Julie Walker.
China's military sent several dozen warplanes and warships toward Taiwan in a large-scale exercise that simulated sealing off the island. Correspondent Charles de Ledesma reports.
The Chinese military had earlier announced combat readiness patrols as a warning to Taiwan. The actions follow President Tsai Ing-wen's trip to America, with the most sensitive event being a meeting with the House Speaker. China has responded with sanctions against those associated with her trip and intensifying military activity near the island. Taiwan's defense ministry says 70 Chinese planes were detected from Sunday to early Monday, while another 59 flights of bombers and fighter jets were detected later. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
The Justice Department is appealing a Texas court ruling that would halt approval of the most commonly used method of abortion in the U.S. On Wall Street, the Dow up by 101 points, the Nasdaq dropped 3, the S&P up 4. More at townhall.com.
Dennis Prager here. Sue and I mean it when we say dogs are part of our family. We love Otto and Snoopy so much, and there's nothing like their loyal companionship. So we provide them with Rough Greens, R-U-F-F, because we want them to feel healthy and be with us as long as possible. I know Charlie Kirk feels the same way.
The Pragers and I couldn't agree more. I rely on my trusted furry friend, Mr. Briggs, who's an absolute machine, and he relies on me to provide what's best for him. Naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black has packed Rough Greens, not a dog food, but a supplement full of vitamins, minerals, digestive enzymes, and omega oils that Mr. Briggs absolutely needs and loves. Trying Rough Greens for your dog just makes sense.
Greetings, Naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black here. I'm honored that the Pragers and Charlie trust their dog's health to Rough Greens. I'm so confident that Rough Greens can help your dog too that I'm offering you a free Jumpstart trial bag. Just cover the shipping. Yes, dog food is dead food, but it doesn't have to be. Go to ruffgreens.com.
Palestinian health officials say Israeli troops fatally shot a 15-year-old Palestinian boy during a raid in the occupied West Bank.
Palestinian officials have named the boy who was shot dead as Mohammed Fayez Balhan, saying he was hit in the head and stomach by live gunfire from Israeli troops. The Israeli military has given little detail so far, but said that its soldiers were carrying out a raid on a refugee camp near Jericho. It's the latest in near-daily military operations by Israel in the occupied West Bank. Hours earlier, 2 Israeli soldiers were lightly wounded during a separate operation in Nablus.
BBC correspondent Sebastian Usher reporting. Meanwhile, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has retracted his decision to fire his defense minister over criticism of the government's contentious plan to overhaul the judiciary. Netanyahu said that Yoav Gallant is staying in his post. News and analysis at townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters. The many rainstorms in California have hit beekeepers in the state very hard, but the outlook for honey from those bees is sweet. We hear more from correspondent Ed Donahue reporting.
All that rain, along with wind and chilly temperatures, kept bees in Gene Brandy's hives.
But this year we had to do a lot more feeding because the bees were not able to fly, and we just want to make sure that they don't starve to death on us.
The bees are expensive to feed, but it's more expensive if the hive dies. California was battered this winter by at least a dozen atmospheric rivers, as well as powerful storms. Some hives were washed away by flooding. The rain is expected to bring a burst of spring wildflowers.
It has the makings of a great year. It should be a great year for honey.
Brandy says they've been praying for rain for the last 3 dry years, and they finally have it. I'm Ed Donahue.
More on these stories at townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters.
If you're in business, you know just how important each call is. You don't have time for phone or internet downtime. Your business needs a reliable communications partner 24/7. You need Lifeline Voice and Data. Lifeline Voice and Data provides telephone service to emergency service facilities all over West Tennessee and beyond. For your business, we don't just provide a phone line. We provide a lifeline. Lifeline Voice and Data.
Not too expensive, nothing too fancy, just an authentic Italian family recipe served up piping hot, just like a pizza pie should be. Locally owned and operated Carico's Pizza, home of the $8 lunch special. 2 slices and a drink for just $8. Buy the slice or the 28-inch monster. Perfect for the ball game. Carico's Pizza, 1370 Union University Drive. For catering, call 731-240-1033. For the full menu, visit caricospizza.com.
Hi, my name's Dawn. I have been taking BioT at Advanced Medical. My moods are better. I sleep well. My husband has complimented me on the mood swings that are no longer affecting our marriage.
Are these problems affecting your work, your relationships, and your quality of life? You'll be happy to know there's an exciting, natural solution available called BioT. BioT uses a natural way for men and women to correct these problems by safely and accurately balancing hormone levels without the use of synthetic injections or cream.
I got blood work done, and they identified what hormones were out of balance. They gave me the bioidentical hormone pellets through BioT, and now I have more energy, no more brain fog, I'm sleeping better, and I feel like my old self again. I would recommend Advanced Rehab and Medical and their BioT program to anyone suffering with symptoms like mine. It's been life-changing.
To book your appointment, call 731-462-8580. That's 731-462-8580.
When the game goes into overtime. But the game goes into overtime. The choice to enjoy is easy. Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Pick up Bud Light at your local convenience store today. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Central Distributors, Jackson.
News Talk 96.5 FM weather presented by Dustin Ring. Dustin buys houses fast for cash. Call Dustin now, 731-200-1362. Monday brings abundant sunshine with highs near 70. Winds south, 5 to 10. Clear skies tonight, lows in the mid-40s. Dustin Ring, Dustin buys houses fast for cash. Call Dustin now, 731-200-1362. DustinBuys.com.
News Talk West Tennessee includes NewsTalk965.com and NewsTalk 96.5 FM, covering local news, sports, and weather on an extensive network of platforms, including radio, social media streaming, digital TV, live stream, podcasts, all on your devices. Our local and live weekday lineup includes Daybreak with Greg Wood and G-Unit, Walker Talks with Chuck Walker and Julie Holt, The Dan Reeves Show with Gina Langley and Larry Newman, Dave Ramsey, Jackson-Madison County Schools Game of the Week, UT Ball Sports, and the Memphis Grizzlies. Local, live, News Talk West Tennessee and NewsTalk965.com. Hear it first on News Talk 96.5 FM. We might be talking about you. The Northside Indians play here. 96.5 FM. News Talk West Tennessee. NewsTalkWTN.com.
Eight minutes past 5. We're looking for the Budweiser King of Calls. If you get the best call, the best text of the day, then you're the King of Calls, a King of Texts. You're on the program. If you're the one, you get a nice prize back from Budweiser, the King of Beers. And Central Distributors right here in Jackson. My name's Dan Reeves, along with Dr. Mark Fowler. Hello, Doc.
Hello, Dan. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for asking. Larry Newman is in the house. Hello, Newman.
Hello, Reed.
The weather looks nice today. The weather outside is not frightful. Larry, what do you know? What's the details, my man? Brought to you by Dustin Ring. Dustin buys houses fast for cash. DustinBuys.com. Not only houses, land, trailers, and he does it fast for cash money. Money in hand, son. DustinBuys.com. Larry has to look out there for the rest of the week.
Well, it's going to be a good week. Tonight, it'll be 46 and clear. On Tuesday, 69 and sunny. 46 and clear Tuesday night. Wednesday, 71 and sunny. Wednesday night, 49 and mostly clear. Thursday, 71 and sunny. And 58 for the low on Thursday. So we've got good weather coming.
I'm ready for it. Are you ready for it, Doc? Bikini season. That's my favorite. Personal favorite of mine. How about you, Larry?
Yeah, I love bikini season.
It's a lot of fun on Curvy Girl, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, it is. And where do you go to the beach often, Larry?
Not anymore. I used to when we lived near Galveston.
But did it ever get old? I know some people say,
No.
well, living here, it gets old. How would that get old?
Frisbee and football and swimming and
Sand in your shorts.
Yeah, sand in your bloomers.
Sunburn.
That's a good point, Doc. But
I can take the beach in small doses.
sunscreen.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
Sunscreen.
Sunscreen. Do you? I don't go out of the house without sunscreen these days. I don't. It's you get some basal cell, and I had moles right above my eye right there a few years ago, and that got my attention. And the doc said, if you didn't have a little bit of color to your skin, you'd be in real trouble.
Yeah. So
I said, you know what? I don't want her digging around on my forehead anymore. I'm going to wear sunscreen. But we didn't. I mean, did you ever lay in a tanning bed? Did you ever?
No.
Did you, Larry?
No.
You didn't?
No.
I figured you did. Oh yes. In fact, I did a commercial when I was like 18 or 19. Me and Tammy, now Tammy Smith, she's married to my first cousin Chris, Pastor Chris over at Love and Truth. We did a commercial for Tammy. What was that company we did a commercial for? What if they're still running that thing? That's been, like 10 years ago or so. That was 18. Sure did. They filmed us both getting lying in a tanning bed. We had a year-round tan, man. And there was have that healthy tan, There wasn't a lot of warnings back then. You know it?
Yep.
Yeah, but I wouldn't advise it. I'll be honest with you. So it's now what's happening in Nashville? News breaking across the nation right now, certainly across the state of Tennessee. Those two Democrats that got essentially kicked out of Nashville are right back in town.
No, just one.
Oh, I thought the Memphis.
Yeah, the Memphis hasn't voted yet.
Nashville is confirmed.
That's Jones.
They voted to send it back. And who voted to send it back?
Nashville Metro Council.
All right, so in Memphis?
Yeah. The Shelby County Commission will, looks like they're going to vote on this Thursday.
Yeah, in other countries, democracies, like in England, you can't just go in there and act like a total moron. They can. Right. I mean, even if you have the top office in the land, the prime minister, you can get fired right in the middle of your term.
Yeah, one of the county commissioners had an interesting point. Commissioner Amber Mills told the Commercial Appeal she will not vote to reappoint Pearson since it might hurt Shelby County, possibly resulting in legislators blocking funds. Other people said they wanted somebody who could work with the legislature. Memphis has got a lot of needs, and they need state money, and they need Nashville representatives to support them and work with them. And again, as we've said, you can make all the passionate speeches consistent with the rules, but you've also got to sit down in the committee meetings and over coffee, and you've got to strike deals to make things happen. You can't just sit there and carry on from the well in an inappropriate manner. So maybe Pearson and Jones will learn their lesson and try to work better, and maybe Pearson will come back, maybe not. We'll see.
Where do we get these politicians? I mean, they don't just fall out of the sky. They come from. They come from American homes, American schools, American churches.
Well,
is this the best of the best? I mean, look at the mockery that's in Washington D.C. I mean, look at Ted Cruz reading. What was he reading a few years ago? But he just was reading one of the Dr. Seuss stories.
Which had been, somebody was banning that because they felt it was sexist or racist or something, or not sufficiently inclusive. But
and both parties do the whole. Republicans right now are on the kick of banning books, and it's been liberals in the past, or the far left, I should say, and then the far right, and both play the victim. I mean, on a consistent basis, and both accuse the other one of playing the victim all the time. These are adults. What I'm saying is, I mean, is this garbage in, garbage out? I mean, is this a good reflection of the American people?
There has never been a time when there weren't knotheads in Congress.
Yeah, but the majority of them are now, it seems.
Mark Twain remarked one time, he said, there is no Native American criminal class except the United States Congress.
Yes, he did. And boy, his words still ring true today, don't they?
Yes, they do.
What do you think? What do these people come from? I mean, is this really the best we can do? These are the people that write legislation.
Well,
and I'm not sure they could even read it, some of them.
In fairness, you have probably two classes of people. One, the super successful who can afford to leave a business for several months of the year and go to Nashville and work, and those are probably the better ones. And others who are not as well fixed and for whom this is their main job. And so as a consequence, they're more interested in keeping this job than anything else. And that probably affects their behavior. They've got to keep their names in the news.
But you know, and I could see that makes sense on the surface. But when you go down, dig down deep, and you look at the number of millionaires in Congress or the Senate, they tend to be the ones that make a career out of it. And maybe they were not millionaires when they started.
Yeah, that's true too.
And with Citizens United is guaranteed if you can get a super PAC behind you, we can get you elected, but you got to play ball with us and we'll keep you there.
But there's a solution, and this is what I would propose, and this is really sort of counterintuitive based on my conservative principles, and that is this: every member of Congress is paid $1 million, and that would attract talent. That would attract the best of the best, rather than some of the people we've got in there, because there's more at stake. They can afford to live in Washington and live well, and $1 million will diminish the temptation they might face otherwise.
They'd be taking a pay cut, though. You know?
Well, legally they only make $175.
I know, but when you have the supreme morons that have taken political corruption out of the dictionary, they do it right out in the open these days.
Yeah,
there's no consequences or repercussions, and I hear what you're saying. In principle, I agree, but you got to get the money out of politics first. K Street needs to be shut down. And I know there's always, there are some lobbyists that do good work. Well, there may be, but we can't keep this. I mean, it's corruption right in your face these days. So what do we do about that? There's legislation that would benefit the American people, and they're not putting forth the effort to even try to get it passed because their daddy tells them, no.
Well, I would disagree with your fundamental premise. Fundamentally, Americans should be responsible for themselves and not look to government to solve their problems.
Well, that's not what I said, though. It's supposed to be government of the people,
right,
for the people, by the people.
Right.
But it's government of the corporations. Because corporations are the one, so they're the welfare queens.
Yeah, that's true.
They are stifling our gas. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's but they are saying or lecturing us at the same time, saying, and here's something I don't understand. It's on tape about 4 or 5 Republicans, conservatives now in Washington that have said on tape that they want to slash Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. Now they're saying, we never said that, but it's on tape that they did say that. Well, what's your take on that? And is that something that we should be looking at cutting?
Well, the answer is yes. Medicare and Medicaid are going to lead us to bankruptcy. They are out of control.
More than the money that's wasted on the military-industrial complex?
Yeah, absolutely.
Really?
Yes, absolutely. And if we don't reform that, we are going to find ourselves in a situation where we can no longer afford, and we'll have to ration benefits.
Why are we in trouble with that? Because it's
because politicians can't say no.
Can't say no as in what?
Well, there ought to be a limit to the amount of money that politicians spend. Many states have to have balanced budgets. We ought to have a balanced budget in case of except in the case of a national emergency as manifested by a 3/4 vote of the House and the Senate. And we ought to balance our budget. And we ought to say, listen, we really don't need all this money that we send overseas to the different countries, a good bit of which winds up in the pockets of dictators and politicians and not the people on the ground. That's one thing that we could do.
What do you think we do that?
Huh?
What do you think we send so much money up? Now, I tell you, Dr. Charles Page, I'd love to have him in on the program. He used to come in all the time. He's from Jackson, but he spent much of his adult life living half the year in Tel Aviv or Jerusalem in the other half here. He started calling me 20 years ago, and he says that they laugh at us. People in Israel laugh at America, so that they've got the liberals because it's they feel horrible for what happened during World War II with the Jews, and then they have the conservatives because they want to get into heaven, and they think that they need to send them money as well, so they got us going and coming. And that's how the Israeli government with tourism works with mega pastors in the U.S. And they treat the mega pastors like they're kings because they bring the huge flock over there to spend money in Israel. And he says they just make, and he's written several books. He's an archaeologist. He's one of the few that have actually dug around near Jesus' tomb. He's just reporting, for living over there so long, what they actually say about us in Israel.
Well, this problem about entitlements is not new. Greece went through it 3 or 4 years ago. France is going through it now, where they have promised people benefits like retirement at age 62 and pension benefits that they haven't adequately funded, and now they're having to cut back. That's going to happen to us within 10 years, unless they reform the system.
Well, I tell you, but then I'm going to need a refund on everything I paid in that's gone to pay for other people's, Medicare, Medicaid, and their retirements.
Yeah,
I'm going to need my money back.
Well, it was a gimmick from the first. When Medicare, when Medicaid, Social Security, when Social Security was passed, the average life expectancy was 65, which meant that half the people who paid into the system would never see a penny. And now the life expectancy is somewhere 80. So for 15 years, people are getting government-subsidized health care and Social Security checks, some of which some people don't need. But in any event, we can't afford. Now, so step one, make sure that those who are poverty-stricken have enough. Step two, people like myself, I'm a little over 65, who've paid in all their life, should not necessarily be penalized, although I will tell you my retirement age has been pushed up to 66 and a half. So I have a few more months. And then we need to structure the benefits so that people can opt out if they wish. And then we need to adequately fund it, which would mean a modest tax increase and a modest trim of the benefits. But failing that, we're going to go right over the financial cliff.
It's so you don't. Do you know the numbers on this? I've got a file on the Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security file. Yeah, I haven't looked at it yet. But do you know how much the type of money that it costs per year? It's okay. Here we go. Traditional Medicare Advantage costs taxpayers about $321 more per enrollee per year than the traditional Medicare does. You can scale that, according to this article, scale it up to over 61 million and growing Medicare beneficiaries nationally. So, and the result is about 20 billion down the drain annually, they say. If that's not alarming enough, the medical loss ratio of only 60%, meaning up to 40% of its expenditures, can go towards profits and administration. 40%.
That's way too high.
That's ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah. In fiscal year 2022, the Medicare program cost $767 billion, roughly 13% of total federal government spending. That's Medicare.
So where would that have it on the list of most expensive? Taxpayer burdens.
Well, that's one of them. That's 13%.
Yeah, what does that have it as far as the rank? You know,
I don't.
We'll look and see. How do other countries do this and have Medicare essentially for all its citizens, no matter what the age?
Here's how they do it. Number one, they have deficit spending. Number two, they limit access.
No, they don't, because I know people
do.
they voted in, though. The people that live there. That's why it didn't make any sense, because I know in Canada, I know in Australia, and in England, they have a chance to vote it out, and they wouldn't even consider voting it out.
Yeah, because they think they're getting something for nothing.
No, I said, no, they don't. They know they're paying in to get it. But they think we're crazy. I mean, Americans that I know that have lived in England, they say you got to get out of here before you understand how bad you're getting screwed over.
Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid make up nearly half of the entire federal budget, with a total price tag of $2.7 trillion. That's over 3 times as much as the country spends on defense.
And that's 40% of that, they just said, goes down the drain, right?
Well, a large part of it.
Yeah, it goes to profits
and
administrative
costs.
Yeah, profits over people. I don't know. Do you think everything should be for profits? Everything?
Yes.
Everything.
Now, listen, I've had exposure to the VA system as a medical school student. The VA healthcare was suboptimal. It was administratively burdensome, and it was not necessarily attuned to the needs of the patients, many of whom had long waiting lists.
Well, yeah, but why can't we look at what other countries are doing and take the best of each country, put it together, and because what is it, 70% of Americans want something like that done here, and with a representative republic, that's the representatives are supposed to vote for what the people want, but I know it would be a whole lot better than saying, hey, you can't buy health insurance coverage outside the state of Tennessee. That's crazy. I mean, doesn't it seem ridiculous to you? That's not like, it's rigged.
Fundamentally, healthcare is an economic good, and you get what you pay for. And the dilemma here is that people demand more healthcare than they're willing to pay for.
What?
And that's the problem.
It's the people. Yeah, come on, Doc.
No, seriously.
People demand more health care than they're willing to pay for. How do you figure that?
Well, okay, you go to the doctor, and you know that the insurance company is going to pick up the bill. So the doctor says, would you prefer this test or that
insurance company
test?
picking up the bill. The insurance company is making money off these patients, and if they're not, then they're going to fire you as a patient.
Well, of course. But
it's free money for them.
But here's the problem. When people go, and for example, we've talked about this before, people come to see the doctor for a common cold. There's very little that a doctor can give you for a common cold. It's a waste of time and money. And there are all manner of things that
they don't do it
doctors
because it's free, because it's...
because they get a discount. If they had to pay the full freight for an office visit, they wouldn't pay it.
I'm telling you, they do pay the full freight for it, because with the deductibles that are ridiculous, with the out-of-pocket costs, with what it costs out-of-pocket for prescriptions, we're getting screwed.
But if their employer is paying for health insurance, then they are not paying the full freight of their health care.
But how many employers are doing that these days?
A lot of employees do that.
I don't know if it's a lot. It could be. I haven't looked at the number. I think that's. But with the workers' compensation, the wages being stagnant for decades and decades here in America, it's and this is why that's one of the leading causes, maybe the leading cause of preventable deaths now in America is lack of health care in America. I mean, I think there's two things that we continue to sweep under the rug, and just, I guess because ignorance is bliss, and one of those is one of the most dangerous things that threatens this country is our health. Can you imagine getting enough people together that's healthy? If we were to go to war and we had to go actually enact the draft, put that back in motion. But you mentioned a healthy diet, and people start saying Venezuela. It's a slippery slope.
Venezuela doesn't have a healthy. In Venezuela, they're eating dogs and garbage. That's the problem with Venezuela.
That's why it's a joke when somebody says Venezuela. It's absolutely
Venezuelan diet will help you lose weight for sure.
But that is where we go in America. It's Venezuela, socialism. That's the boogeyman today. It's our health. We're obese. We're drug addicts. I mean, there's an obesity epidemic, even a childhood obesity epidemic right here in Tennessee, and we lead, I think, the nation still in a number of our citizens here in Tennessee that are addicted to opiates, and by virtue of that, we would lead the world. Because,
what government program is going to stamp out opioid addiction?
Well, it's the government that paved the way for this to happen with their legislation. Wouldn't you agree?
No.
Really?
No,
you think it was a good idea to make sure that the FDA, or not the FDA, but maybe it's alcohol, tobacco, firearms. It could be the FDA. I'll have to look at it again. When legislation was drawn up, they went into law that prevented government officials from even actually, if there was a large suspicious shipment of opiates, they couldn't even investigate it. Now, what would be the reason for that?
That I'm not familiar.
It would have to be that's what their daddy told them to write. It sounded like the pharmaceutical companies actually were writing the legislation. I mean, Purdue didn't pull this off without help from the government. Don't you agree?
Here's what Purdue did.
Did you agree?
Yeah, Purdue did this. Purdue got a lot of doctors to sign on to the notion that what the patient says about pain is true and must be accepted as true, and you should medicate their pain. By the way, here's a medicine called OxyContin. You take it twice a day. It lasts all day. It's really good stuff. And it turned out that OxyContin was particularly addictive, more so than other medications. But take a step back from that. It's the responsibility of the physician and the patient to have an honest dialogue about their medical needs. Many, many times I've told patients, I'm not giving you any more pain medicine. You're on too much as it is. You're not functional as it is.
Yeah, but look, you're a good doctor, but that still doesn't cancel out when you have pharmaceutical companies offering up what they were able to offer up doctors, when you have pharmaceutical companies bringing sandwiches to the office and all this information, and the FDA saying, you know what, we don't have a problem with it.
Well, they don't do that as much as anymore.
But they don't anymore because they finally had to do something after they allowed an epidemic.
But here's what a conscientious doctor does. He never, ever prescribes a medicine the instant it comes out the market, if he has any sense. And here's why. Because it has not been exposed to wide swath of the population, and nobody really knows the side effects. Do you remember the drug Vioxx?
Yes.
Vioxx was a medicine, it was a non-steroidal anti-inflammatory. It turned out when exposed to the public at large, it caused a lot of deaths, and they pulled it off the market. So it was pulled off the market. I was detailed by a pharmaceutical rep the same day it was pulled off the market. New pharmaceuticals are not necessarily the key to treating problems. There should be a lag time between the introduction of a pharmaceutical and the time that the doctor starts using it.
Vioxx was used for
osteoarthritis, joint pain.
Okay.
Yeah.
It worked. How did that work differently than, let's say, OxyContin?
Well, OxyContin is an opioid.
Right.
Okay.
Do you get high off Vioxx?
No.
Okay, so we're not interested.
Vioxx is in the same family as ibuprofen and naproxen, diclofenac, and the others. So it didn't give you a buzz.
So it was a totally different scenario.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you. All right, let's go to the phone lines. People are standing by. You're up next with us here live on News Talk 96.5. You're on the air. Go.
Well, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How you doing, girl?
Doc, I wanted to ask you a question pertaining to...
it hurts when I do this. Don't do that.
No, that, the state of Tennessee was ranked, I think, 3rd in the nation for abusing pharmaceutical drugs.
Right.
Not so much of the doctor giving those medications to the patient, but somehow the patient didn't use all that was prescribed. They would much prefer to sell it to their drug heads in order to addict other people.
Right. That's called drug diversion. That's right.
So, I watched the television on the variation of medications that continually advertised, 23 hours a day. And then I asked my doctor about what's about this. He said, you probably don't want to do that. And Danny, being Danny, he doesn't look at all the side effects. Could you explain to the listening public in West Tennessee that for every medication that you take, there's a side effect to taking the medication?
Well, I don't recall advocating for taking medication. Maybe it's did you mean that, or is that just the pills talking?
No. The pills are talking in Tennessee by being ranked the third in the nation for abusing what the doctor prescribes to you to use for medical purposes. That's the question.
Well, it's there is yes. Opiates are very addictive, apparently, Doc.
They're somewhat addictive. There's a matter of personal choice. But let me address the question.
Addiction isn't a matter of personal choice.
Yeah, it is.
Addiction is a matter of personal choice.
Absolutely.
Of course.
Explain that to me.
Yeah. All right. Here is the classic example. There were thousands of U.S. soldiers who habitually used heroin in Vietnam, and when they returned to the United States, they stopped. And that was the end of it.
That's not the way addiction works.
That's exactly the way the addiction works.
No, it doesn't. And you're telling me that people that were taking opiates just as a doctor prescribed.
No, this is heroin. This was illicit use.
I understand that. And they became addicted to it by choice?
Yes.
By choice?
Yes.
Now, you're not going to find a professional that would agree with you.
I can name several.
Name one. That's several, just one. Addiction is a choice.
Theodore Dalrymple, who was a British psychiatrist and author, reports extensively about his experience. He's a prison doctor.
That's fine if he writes a book and he's a psychiatrist. That doesn't make him a professional when it comes to a drug and alcohol counselor or someone who's been trained in addiction.
That's what psychiatry is. One of the things they do in psychiatry is addiction.
That's one of the things they do. Yeah. Not all the No, there's not a psychiatrist on staff at many drug rehabilitation centers across America.
Well,
because that's not what they do.
Dalrymple writes, and I concur, that the manner of opioid addiction is manifold. There are some people who constitutionally are more likely to be addicted than others. But there's some people who require a persistent effort to become addicted.
I don't think anyone wants to become an addict.
I didn't say that.
Well, you said it's a choice.
It is a choice.
How's it a choice?
It's a choice because if you get an adverse reaction to it, if you get a buzz that you suspect is improper, and most of them do, then you stop taking the medicine.
People have proven since day one on planet Earth, you say an adverse reaction, hey, this makes me feel good. It got me out of pain. I don't think a lot of people see that as an adverse reaction.
No, but the sensation of euphoria, that is what becomes addictive.
Right.
Okay, is a matter of choice. Okay, it's the same thing with an alcoholic. The alcoholic gets a buzz he enjoys. He continues to drink alcohol. The opioid addict gets a buzz and he continues to take it.
It's not a goal that people set to become addicts.
I didn't say that.
You said it's by choice.
It is a matter of choice. It is a matter of choice when they say, I should no longer take this medicine. It makes me feel funny.
No. Now you change it to funny. It's feel good. People would tend to gravitate towards feeling good.
Well, but there are millions and millions of people who take opioids for a broken ankle or a hip replacement, and they don't become addicts. And the reason is they stop taking the medicine. I don't need it anymore.
That's not news. I know people could. I can drink alcohol, but I didn't become an alcoholic. People are predisposed.
Some of them are. Many of them are not. Many people.
But this is semantics again.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is. It's the guy. Whatever moron that you quoted there is an absolute idiot. If he wrote a book that says addiction is choice, it's not.
I agree with him. He is correct. because they
I
continue.
am correct. Dan Ho.
Well, I feel even better that you agree with Doc here.
They continue to use medications for an inappropriate euphoric effect, and that's how they become addicts. The first drink seldom makes you an alcoholic. The first opioid pill seldom makes you an alcoholic. That's not unheard of, but becoming an opioid addict requires some effort.
Okay, all right. If that's what you think, if it's my choice. But you're not trained in the arts of in treating addiction, though, are you? Or maybe you are.
I have had exposure to that training, sure.
Well, I've had exposure to doctors. It doesn't make me a doctor.
No, it doesn't. But I have spent several hours reading the literature and attending lectures where addiction is discussed.
How many AA meetings you have been to?
Doesn't make any difference. That's not professional training.
It's just a question.
The answer is
I've been close to treatments for alcohol and drug addiction for all my adult life, and I've seen some of the best people I know are recovering addicts, and not one of them ever said, "Hey, I got into this because I wanted to be a drug addict or an alcoholic." It's not a choice.
I'm not saying that that's what their ultimate goal is. I'm saying in the same sense that they choose to stop drinking, they choose to drink because of the euphoric effect that it has on them.
Well, yeah, but that's a lot different than what you said and what the psychiatrist said.
The decision to abuse medications or alcohol is a choice.
No one starts out with the plan of abusing it, though.
I didn't say that, but the decision to continue to use the medication when it's obvious it's wrecking your life is a choice.
But by the time you realize that, it's a little too late.
No, it's
you've
not.
sunk
Well,
it
you're
into
not very bright if you can't make that choice.
That's right.
There's some of the smartest
That's what we're talking.
some of the other people. Well, it's not that much of a hurdle to clear to say that with much higher IQs than you that have fallen prey to becoming an addict, whether it be alcohol or drugs.
Because they chose to continue down that road.
Okay, so hey, all right. If that's what you believe, I'm not going to try to change your mind.
No, that's like
pardon me, but I'll take the advice and I'll take the word of people that work in that industry over you every single day.
Well, like I say, you got to, an addict assistant can only benefit you if you are deciding to do this and accept responsibility and stop what you're doing to yourself.
Otherwise, alcoholism and drug addiction is a disease. Do you believe that, Doc?
It is a disease. That's correct.
Much like cancer. No one chooses to have cancer.
It's not entirely like cancer.
No, because you know that there are things that can give you that can induce your chances of cancer.
All right.
Smoking cigarettes, eating fatty foods. There's a number of different things. But no one sets out and makes a decision to get cancer.
No, they don't.
No one sets out with the goal or it's their choice to become an alcoholic or a drug addict. I'm just telling you that's not accurate.
But in Alcoholics Anonymous and Narcotics Anonymous, both of them focus on the agency of the patient to stop making bad choices.
Well, yeah, but that's a different story than what you were, or different tune than what you were singing.
It's simply the different side of the same story.
So, okay, so what exactly was the moral of the story? You were saying that when you said people do it by, how did you put it initially?
People don't choose to become addicts, but they choose to abuse medication.
Well, you said they choose to become addicts. Is what you said initially.
Well,
maybe you misspoke.
They choose to abuse the medicine, which leads to addiction. If you prefer it that way.
Okay, it's not that I prefer it that way. I just want to make sure it's actually so you.
But drug abuse is a choice. That's what I would say. Drug abuse is a choice.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't disagree with that initially, but
right.
but what you. Okay, you changed it up a little bit, and if that's what you mean, that doesn't sound near as bad.
Right.
But what you said initially, and not to hammer on you,
right,
because there are others that believe the same,
well, but,
and you may not believe it that way. And I just want But Rick, you seem to think it is a choice to become an addict.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's a choice of unhealthy activity. You know, if you're bright enough to go to the doctor to let him know that you are hurting, and he gives you medicine and tells you to take it however he prescribes it, and you then turn around and abuse that medication when you no longer need it.
But you don't have to abuse it to become addicted to it. That's the point.
No, that's the definition of addiction, is abuse.
No,
That's right.
but you don't. But you don't have to abuse it initially to become addicted.
No, you
to
don't
it.
have to abuse it.
No,
You choose to do.
You could take it according to the doctor's script and still become addicted to it.
That is extraordinarily rare.
I don't know if it'd be extraordinarily rare because we have an opioid epidemic in this nation.
No, that's
And
because
Tennessee's
people,
led the way.
That's because people choose to use drugs recreationally, which is why, for example, I'm opposed to the use of marijuana. The recreational.
But what about alcohol?
Well,
because I don't know how many people use alcohol, medical alcohol. I don't think is a real thing.
That is true. And alcohol is like dynamite. You have to be very, very careful with it. If you drink too much, you're going to get sick. And alcohol is a drug of abuse. Sure it is. Nicotine is a drug of abuse.
Right. So what do you think? Marijuana seems to be, when you compare those, would be minuscule amount of deaths that it causes.
Not true.
But it's the what?
Not true.
Yeah,
Not true.
it is true. How many?
Marijuana is probably more effective in causing COPD or chronic obstructive pulmonary disease.
Probably
than nicotine. Probably.
Do you have any data on that?
Well, not only that, but
some.
Danny doesn't know about. Danny doesn't accept all the fentanyl that they're lacing marijuana around here with. See, that's what he don't know.
Look, Mo Ron, if you're growing in your backyard, you're not going to have to worry about that. That you just made my case for me. I mean, come
you
on,
make
man.
Excuses for wrong choices.
Excuses for wrong choices? What are you talking about?
Marijuana is being laced with fentanyl nowadays.
Yeah, I heard about that. No one but growing in the backyard and lacing with fentanyl. If they were growing it for their own use, so you just made the case for legalizing it.
No, they did the same thing with crack cocaine, Danny. That's from 1990.
They done grow crack cocaine in your
has gone around
backyard?
a long time. Yeah, they laced marijuana with crack.
I'm not, dude. You're not listening to me. I'm obviously they're lacing everything apparently with fentanyl these days.
Hey, I've lived that life.
And you know where it happens at? On the black market. That's where it happens at. Budweiser don't do that with their products. It happens on the black market. We pick and choose what we want to say. Well, and again, somebody produce the numbers. I've got to see them where marijuana is killing more people than cigarettes.
All right.
And what else was it? What else did you say?
Here's some data from the American Thoracic Society, which is an elite group of chest physicians. It says, according to the American Thoracic Society, heavy marijuana smoking is likely to cause lung damage, which increases a person's risk of developing COPD. Many of the harmful and volatile chemicals in tobacco are also present in marijuana.
Oh, geez. No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
But all the chemicals they put in cigarettes?
Yes.
Are you kidding me?
Yes. No, I'm not kidding you.
I'd have to see that. I mean, a plant that grows out of the ground versus
tobacco grows out of the ground.
Yeah, but tobacco that grows out of the ground then goes in a lab, and you know how many chemicals they put in cigarettes?
No, but I'm not trusting any of these yahoos who grow marijuana not to spray it with Roundup or God knows what else before they
Roundup. It makes sense then to allow people to grow their own in their backyard. That's what I'm saying here. All right,
hey, Dan Ho,
yes.
You don't know about fentanyl.
You keep, for some reason, Rick, I'm cutting you and you're not bleeding. It's what I'm saying is you're making the case to let people grow their own in their backyard because they're not going to lace their own supply with fentanyl.
No, they don't.
And you don't get that stuff until you put it on the black market. And it was done intentionally.
No, They don't even grow tomatoes in their backyard around here anymore. Except me, I grow them.
Here's a study that says...
well, congratulations. Nobody cares that you grow tomatoes. You're stinking tomatoes.
Here's a study that says the histological effects of 3 to 4 marijuana cigarettes on the airway were comparable to smoking 20 tobacco cigarettes. And the side effects included wheezing, chronic cough, and increased sputum production.
I know people who have smoked weed all their lives. And they don't smoke weed at the clip. They smoke regular cigarettes. Come on, man.
Well, he just said 3 to 4 marijuana cigarettes.
I got that on a daily basis.
But would you concede that you can get COPD from inhaling excessive wood smoke, excessive dust, and so forth and so on? And the principle is the same. Marijuana and tobacco both introduce foreign substances, smoke, tar, and other things into the lungs that are harmful. You would concede that.
Well, yes, but that's not what we're talking about here.
That's exactly what we're talking about.
No, you brought all this other stuff into the equation, but what was your point?
Danny,
I think you're making my point.
You need a megaphone.
The point is...
you need a beer helmet, dude.
The point
No,
is...
you need a megaphone to go talk to the Jackson City Council like them dummies in Nash Vegas.
Yeah, I was surprised not to see you with them. Big
Rick. Megaphone for little Conger babies, little antics.
Okay, look, here you go again attacking the mayor, who's done a really good job, is the mayor of the city of Jackson, because you're jealous of him. I mean, what do you think? If it wasn't for him, that you'd be mayor? I'm going to tell you, Rick, if we were down to like 10 people, you would not be mayor of the city. Scott Conger's not blocking you and keeping you from reaching your potential. You're doing that to yourself. What are you talking about?
Fix the potholes is what you need to do. Fix them.
They didn't happen overnight.
Yes, they did.
Yeah, just a minute. Don't let your yapper get away from you. You play a victim every time you call in here. They've been doing a lot of work to fix the potholes.
Fix the pothole. And even fix a pothole on the road that you're responsible for.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
I'm responsible for. What are you talking about?
Yes. You live in the town. I don't live in this town.
Well, then shut your pie hole then. I mean, you contribute nothing to this city, but you call in here and you attack the mayor. I mean, seriously, get a hold of yourself, man. As I've said before, we've seen this dog eat grass before. Slam that sewer shut underneath your nose, Rick. You're right. You don't live in a city. You pay no city taxes. You just call in and complain.
Crony, crooks. See, that's why I don't deal with them. You deal with them. Goodbye.
Okay.
I think he's off the air now.
That's it.
Man, that's the best news I've heard all day.
I got to tell you. Okay, for the records, they're not worried that the people from Blue Oval City coming in, they hear him on the air. They think, well, that guy sounds like he may have some authority. He doesn't. He's an armchair moron is what he's called. He's referred to. He doesn't know anything. He's jealous of Mayor Scott Conger because the mayor is handsome and he's not. That's one thing. It's of all the things to hate somebody over, you know? I've been a victim of that for years, too. You wouldn't understand.
Oh, man.
Larry, we'll be right back. Stay right there, folks. It is 5:54.
My name is Steven, and I'm 41 years old. I started having problems with my weight, my focus, my energy all around. I spent thousands of dollars a year on supplements trying to get my weight down, and it never worked.
Are these problems affecting your work, your relationships, and your quality of life? You'll be happy to know there is an exciting, natural solution available called BioT. BioT uses a natural way for men and women to correct these problems by safely and accurately balancing hormone levels without the use of synthetic injections or creams.
So I got the treatment, and it has been the best decision of my life. I feel great. I'm losing weight. I have more energy. I'm getting stronger in the gym, and I can focus so much better. And I notice that I also sleep better, and I'm always in a good mood. And I believe it's all because of the BioT treatment.
To schedule an appointment to find out if BioTE is right for you, call 731-462-3596. That's 731-462-3596.
In
Number 45 steps on the plate. So far, he's batting 1,000. The pitcher delivers. But wait, that's not the ball. It's the taxes. 45 Automart takes a swing, and they're gone.
At 45 Automart, we're making your taxes go dark with Grand Slam savings out of the park. That's right. For a short time, we're going to whack your tax up to $1,500 on anything you choose, so there's no way to lose at 45 Automart. Go to 45automart.com. Check out our bullpen that's stacked with more clean Carfax Southern rides than you can shake a bat at. Mustangs, Silverados, Wranglers, Altimas, F-150s, Camrys, Tacomas, Rogues, 4Runners, Avalanches, Cadillacs, Equinoxes, Cobalts, Caravans, Grand Cherokees, Lexus, Mercedes, Siennas, Veronas, You get the picture. We're ready to whack the tax on all of them. Why strike out with Mr. Mega Dealer's base cash stealing stunts when dealing at 45 Automart is as easy as a lob, pitch, bunt? Check us out at 45automart.com today, where you're knocking the taxes over the fence with deals that save dollars and make tons of sense. Dealer!
Looking to add a little spice to your love life?
Nothing adds spice like gunpowder.
Jackson's only indoor shooting range. Date night at the range. Here's what you lovebirds get: a shooting lane for two targets, 100 rounds of ammo, eye and ear protection, and a $30 gift certificate to Texas Roadhouse. All for just $99.99.
Now that's firepower.
Perfect for a gift card from the range. The Range, 2310 North Highland Avenue in Jackson.
Go to therange.com.
It's always severe weather season in West Tennessee. When severe weather strikes, we are here for you. 96.5 FM, News Talk WTN.com.
BioTE, bioidentical testosterone and estrogen. The T stands for testosterone. The E stands for estrogen. So, ladies, we're talking to you too. Hormone optimization. Find your power. The balance of nature and science coming together and producing extraordinary benefits. I've been taking BioTE for 5 years. 2 treatments per year. 1 treatment, 10 minutes, lasts me 6 months. Tiny pellets placed just under the skin, releasing bioidentical testosterone or estrogen. And the results? Well, I just turned double nickel, and my testosterone is 1,200. Now, that's where I was at when I was 23. I sleep better, I have more energy. Overall quality of life has skyrocketed. Gina just did BioTE, and she's on fire, Doc.
This is her first round of it?
First round of it. She loves it. Kim is the concierge down at Advanced Rehab Medical, so do what I did and call Dr. Shannon Blown for 5 years, and I wouldn't miss a treatment. Call 731-503-8254, 731-503-8254, and ask if BioTE is right for you. The balance of nature and science coming together and producing extraordinary benefits. 731-503-8254. Do what I did and call that number. And if it can do it for me, why couldn't it do it for you? BioTE. Our thanks to Gene Langley Ford, CWA Developments. They specialize in fire and water damage restoration. Advanced Rehab Medical, AdvancedRehabJackson.com, where Dr. Shannon Bone is ranked in the top 10 for chiropractors on planet Earth. And Dustin Ring. Dustin buys houses fast for cash, houses, trailers, land. And if you need to sell fast, call Dustin. He buys houses fast for cash. 731-200-1362. DustinBuys.com. Doc, closing statements today?
Had a great show as usual. Always a pleasure to work with you, Dan. And Larry, thank you for keeping us out of the ditch.
You're welcome.
Thank you, fellows. I enjoyed it very much.
It was great.
Can't wait to see you tomorrow.
All right. Thank you so much.
Have a wonderful evening.
This is WBFG 96.5 FM. 96.5 FM. Parker's Crossroads, Jackson.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters reporting. Police say a 23-year-old used a rifle to kill 4 people at the Louisville bank where he was an employee. Police Chief Jacqueline Gwen Villarroel identified the shooter as Connor Sturgeon, who was also killed during the shooting Monday. Louisville Metro Police Department Deputy Chief Paul Humphrey tells WHAS-TV it seems this was an isolated incident of workplace violence.
We believe this is a lone gunman involved in this that did have a connection to the bank. We're trying to establish what that connection was to the business, but it appears he was a previous employee.
9 people, including 2 police officers, were treated for injuries from the shooting. One of the officers, a 26-year-old who had graduated from the police academy on March 31st, was in critical condition after being shot in the head and having surgery.